click, buy, deliver. With remote purchasing from the 2-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester Kawasaki. Proud sponsors of Chasing the Racing.
3, 2, 1, and welcome back to Chasing the Racing, episode 123. And we're delighted to be joined by Joe Akroyd for the third time. And we've had a bit of a makeover in the studio. We've got some new cushions advertised on our new YouTube channel, which is CTR Clips. And we just put like the best bits of the podcast in little short videos. So thanks for holding that up. And how we're doing?
This is what you do on the podium now, isn't it? Or you boys with your helmets like this.
I know,
yeah.
Well, it's got to be done, and it's got to be done.
You should take the cushion.
Especially with my form this year, you only get a few chances on the podium, so need to make the best use of it when I'm
You've
up
done
there.
all right, though. You've done all right. You made up for this. Made up for it this weekend, didn't you?
I tell you what, let's just go wailing straight into it. That's a different bike this weekend.
Yeah,
this is me, my own opinion, right? But I tell you what, no, it's not even an opinion; it's an observation.
It's fact, isn't it?
It's 100% fact. Like going into every corner, you've been sliding it in, drifting it, and the thing is, you're not intentionally doing it. Far from it. The rest of the field straight as an arrow. This weekend, the bike was beautifully straight, and you just went in, and guess what?
I spoke to you a few weeks ago, didn't I? And I said to you, it just looks like a Moto2 bike.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you awkwardly laughed and then passed no more comment on it. And I thought, she just looks like a pig. Just looked like a pig to ride.
Do you know, it's one very specific problem with that we've been struggling with all season, and I think we have made big progress with it. And from free practice 1 at Oulton, it was like straight out there, and you kind of know where you are in the championship, and like if you string everything together, you sort of know where you should be. And it's been difficult, kind of going out and pushing to the limit and thing, and then you're coming in and you're kind of not where you want to be. But it was a new bike for myself and the team this year, and we're not alone in the problems. There's other people on the new Kawasaki that have been struggling with the same issues.
But that's the thing with new modern stockers as well. It doesn't just have to be a superbike. You've got to have somebody driving the electronics on them because they're that advanced now, aren't they? That's the way that things have gone with it.
Yeah, that's it. And to be fair, it could be an electronic problem, but we've managed to fix it not with the electronics.
Right.
I don't want to say too much.
No.
Other Kawasaki's will be listening, but
every other Kawasaki racer out there is now going, tell us the secrets.
It's not the electronics. Fuck that guy off. Someone else.
That saved us 30 grand.
But in terms of the weekend, obviously, it was after such a long time away from the top step, and even a long time from the podium, to be fair. It was so good to be back, and we had a mega weekend. And I think, for the amount of effort that we've all put in, everyone in the team, they deserve a result. So it was meant to repay them.
How come when we're talking about it now, you can look me in the eye, but when you were on the podium on Saturday or Sunday, both days, was it both days? The race was Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
Why is it that when you're being interviewed, you can't look up? Is she hot? Is she really hot?
Is that hold on, what's her
Is it
name?
the blonde lass?
Rachel.
Is that her that does the...
Rachel listens to this podcast, so quick
Hello,
shout out to
Rachel. You're
Rachel.
right.
Well,
yeah.
do you know what? Funny thing, Rachel. Before
Rachel.
we came on here, we were having a little chat, and
Do
why
you
look
read
so
the
nervous? Why? We weren't. But yeah, we were chuckling.
But Rachel, I think it's fair to say that you're not hard to look at, pet, and you're obviously getting very shy on it.
I don't get shy. There's no way
I don't get shy.
Why are you blushing? What's up with you?
No, not
The
a
heating's
chance.
not on, Chrissy, so what's going on?
Head's absolutely imploded now, hasn't
It's totally on the melt, good stuff. Like, we're not going to restart this one, we're going to carry on going. So anyway.
No, fair play to you. You're old well. And like I said to you before we came on here, you just look like a bloke who wanted to win a race.
Yeah.
You look fair play.
Yeah.
Well
To be fair, for a while now, I'm always like mega pumped on the grid, and I'm always up for it. And I've like pretty much every race this year, I've got a min start, being right up in the lead and battling, but I just haven't been able to. I haven't been able to fight back with the people that I've been battling with, and it's been really depressing, to be honest. Like just going back and not being able to do what I want to do. But it was.
That's a hard grid as well, though. When you look through the names and the times,
what do you mean? Hard doesn't even begin to describe
it's
it properly.
Outstanding, isn't it? The quality of the ride is there, and in BSB and the Superbike as well. It's what a championship.
The desire, say on I didn't qualify that well. I was 7th and managed to get the whole shot from the thing. And
I'm so glad you brought that up. If anyone's listening to this and you had to pick one of the other races, if you only had enough data on your phone to watch one of the two races, I know you came second in the first race.
You only need 15 seconds, don't you, to watch that start.
It is just, mate, it
phenomenal.
You're like watching it going, oh, that was all right. And then suddenly you're coming into turn 2 coming down. Does that class as a turn?
Yeah, top avenue.
Yeah. That does count,
Cascades,
doesn't it? So it's like tipping in there, and you're like, "Where the fuck did you come from?"
Do you know, all my family and like a lot of my sponsors and stuff watch down Cascades, which obviously I know about. I know they're there, and I've obviously got a good launch. Went around the outside, managed to take the lead, and do you know that feeling of like wheeling along that avenue, like with like 40 bikes chasing you, and knowing like I'm going to come over the brow of the hill, and my mum and my dad are going to be there.
You have time to think all of
that. I've never taken any.
I'm just going.
I've never taken any drugs before, but like that. If you could sort of,
you would have shocked us, Christopher.
if you could bottle that feeling of like going down, like going
it's
over
just
the
adrenaline
crest,
of everything, just perfection.
That feeling is just like I was literally like so. Do you know, like, say if you know it's going to kick off and you're like going into a fight or whatever, and you like get all that pumped up and you're like adrenaline. It was that feeling like going down on the brakes and the thing, and it was the whole first lap. To be honest, it's we're all sort of experiencing it sometimes, but it's a special feeling, isn't it?
Do you know what would have made that story 10 times better? Is if you were still dressed like you were when I turned up at your house an hour ago.
I do not want to know. I was late.
He's wearing these like tartan trousers, a waistcoat, a tie clip, no glasses on, just looking like a teacher.
He's got class, man.
I says, you got dressed up for me. Stylish bastard. Could you
pull that off? Could you pull that off?
No.
I think I felt like
a codpiece on my wedding day. I had to put my suit on. I just stood there like, this is just horrendous.
Is that since our last podcast, by the way?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
I was about to say congratulations. Yeah. When's the anniversary?
31st of July.
Oh, you smooth bat. You double checked that before we came on air.
No, I didn't, Dominic.
How did you?
Hello, Zoe. You just the good lady there.
How did you manage to con her into that?
I don't know. She's just worn me away over years and years and years. And I'm just a shell of the man that I was. You know, I could have been, I don't know, driving a Porsche and living a dream. And
could have, would have, should have.
No, I'm joking.
He's not
joking. She's put up with a lot of shit, hasn't she? 13 years I've been with her now. So we've done a lot. Yeah, we've done a lot and been a lot of places. And you know, well, you probably don't, because you haven't been with a bird long enough to put a throat out. But when you've been with them a while and you go through the racing game, they see you at your worst, and you know. And to like, all piss taking aside, I can take the piss out myself, no bother. But I wasn't worried about the wedding day at all. I wasn't emotional about it, nothing. And then she walked down the aisle, and her relationship with her family's not great, so they weren't there. So she just walked down the aisle with my little lass. Jesus Christ, I was like, so I had to have a minute, and then I sort of got myself together, and then during the speeches, it was just horrific. It was just horrific, just an emotional wreck, and then having to actually say what you've probably never said out loud before.
We're all friends here, Joe. I think you should reenact this for the.
I've got a video on my phone, bloody, that somebody sent me. I said, "Why have you done that? Why have you done that?" But do you know? I was all emotional about it. But it's
good, you know, in all seriousness, good on you.
No, she's put up with a lot. I think it's sort of just, you know, you acknowledge it. You look around, you know, all family and friends are there, and you're thinking, you know, got some decent folk around me, so it was good to do. I didn't think I'd be bothered by it, because I thought it's a load of old shite. I'm not really interested. But one of the best days of my life. Just nice, just to kind of acknowledge everything and just tie us all together as a family. So yeah, there you go. Soppy shit over with.
Well, I tell you what, for the people listening, I'll just quickly run through what we've got in store, and then we can kind of get stuck in. So there's been the recent World Superbikes, a little bit of MotoGP, the recent BSB. Dom was over racing in Spa, a massive bucket list thing, racing an RC30, so we'll talk about that. And obviously, since you've last been on the podcast, the World Endurance and a few other bits and bobs like the CF stuff. So yeah, we'll get stuck into it all. But let's start with a little bit. We've done sort of my race at Oulton Park. You were over at Spa at the weekend. Do you want to tell us all about that?
what a pain in the arse to get there, mind. I mean, with all this COVID shite. We're not going to go down the cut. We've had 2 years of talking COVID
We
shite.
aren't talking about the sea. We can't use... You told me we're not allowed to use the C word on it.
No, not that one. The other one.
Right,
There you go.
different one,
Yeah,
right.
you can use that all you want. You know what I mean? We'll just bleep the shit out of it. So don't you worry. But no, what a...
It's
was worth
a long
it,
old slog, isn't it, over there?
Getting it all sorted and everything like that, and you're just thinking, what a pain in the arse. But you know what? It's putting it in plain simple text. It's just paperwork. You know what I mean? And you just think, to go do an event like that, you know what I mean? I've got a call. Do you want to go do it? And you just think, my God, yes. It was like...
And when you've done a few laps, you think, it was all worth the shit. And the aggro and the 13 hours of driving, it's worth it, isn't it? Amazing place.
I could not agree more. And the thing is, right, we've done, like, being the TT and stuff like that, you come back from there and you think nothing will replicate that feeling. You know what I mean? No, we've done all kinds of, like, racing around on different roads and you think, yeah, this is similar. But I can honestly say, like, Spa was so close. We were having a bit of crap before, and it is. How close is that to the TT?
It's the nearest you're going to get to a short circuit to the TT that's like transferable, if that makes sense. Just with because the length of the lap, you know, you're not coming up on that same turn.
The terrain, the
and
length, the smells, everything.
Yeah.
How long is the lap?
6 kilometers. Go on then. What's the conversion on that? Is that 4?
It'd be 4 and a bit, won't it?
4 and a bit mile, and it's just. But the thing is, all right. Like we've done, Southern, we've done the Macau, we've done like all like Irish.
Macau,
you know what I mean? Like we've done like the footpath racing, and you think this is close to the TT, but I can honestly say that is so close. It is. But the thing is, right?
I think the thing around there as well is the barriers are close.
My God, you get that wrong.
There's a lot of places. I've very rarely on a short circuit even. Like you don't really notice the barriers, do you? But there are places at Spa where I thought there's a right-hander before there's a real fast left called Blanchimont, and there's a right-hander, and on the exit of the right-hander there's 10 foot of tarmac, a tyre wall, and then the gable end of a house, and you're like, could go wrong, couldn't it? Because your brain's on short circuit, but then there's just little reminders of. And then Blanchimont's like a flat out in fifth on a superbike. It's flat fifth left-hander, and the barriers. Well, I won't you tell about your story, but it's right. No, but we saw a lad wash the front there, and he hit the barrier. So there are a lot of similarities to the roads where you think, ooh, that's a bit near.
But I just mean even like the camber change, the smell, that like the height different, the elevation, everything. The thing is, right. I was going to say to you, come here, you've got to go do it. But I can honestly give, the best advice I could give to you is do not do it yet. Not the safety element, is it will ruin
every other
circuit you go to. I cannot stress that enough to you, because it's a bit like, go out there.
But you know what I think you might find is, because he's not wired to do the same things that we've done. James Westerman was riding for the 333 World Endurance Team.
Yeah.
And he said he did a little, I don't know if it was on the Friday when we'd done the practice or the Thursday. He came over and I said, what do you reckon then? And I'm yipping it up thinking this place is mega. Westy was like, oh, Jesus Christ, why the walls are too near, the barriers too. And you know, from a short circuit thing, you might notice that a little bit more. And even my teammate, John Railton, he said the same thing. He said, after a Rouge, you go up the hill and there's a little right kink onto like the top straight.
The thing is, the curbs are proper elevated. You step off them, you are in trouble. And the thing is, all Rouge, you just hook one gear out and you're driving up, and it can go wrong so quickly, and it's just barrier.
On the exit of there was a bad Formula 1 crash, wasn't there? Where a guy went into the barrier and then I think he got collected, and I think that ended in a fatality. But there's like a little right kink, and I don't know if you noticed, I only noticed because I ended up on them, the edge of the circuit is actually got like a brick edging. Aye. So there's the end of the circuit, then a brick edging, and then grass, and I had to run over the brick edging to go past somebody because I had no other option. I was committed at that point. But then there's like 4 foot of grass and then an Armco, and I didn't really notice it, but Westy said to me, and John, my teammate, said, whoa, horrible through there because the Armcos, so...
No, like, the thing is, I know what you mean about potentially the wiring upside of it, but my God, it's like, it makes... when everyone says, I'm trying to think, like, is Cadbull the most dangerous? No, you know when you talk about
Alton's, yeah.
Alton's
Alton's a bit
was-
quicker into it. That's the thing with Alton. It's fast, but they've done a lot with safety, haven't they, around there?
They have, but I think, like say, the European riders that come, I think they would think there's a few places at Alton. Like, to be fair, I had a few big moments in qualifying coming out. Do you know when the first chicane, is it
Is it the Britain
chicane? Yeah, and then you come out of there and head over the hilltop. If as I flicked left to like motor up the hill there, I think I touched the white line there in the wet, and it like sort of spatters. And as I was kind of getting crossed up, I looked up, and there is just a wall on the right. There's a like tiny bit of grass, and then a wall there.
My best mate died there in 2008.
Really?
At the top of Hilltop. We don't really know the ins and outs of it because nobody sort of saw what had gone on. But yeah, he was like my big brother, and he died there. But they have changed it since then because it was a tyre wall, and it was just tyres bolted together. So what we understand was his head went into the V of the tyres, whereas now it is an Armco, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
So technically they should be safer because you go down the side of them rather than there's nowhere to get a wedge. But you don't think that at the time. You just think, fucking hell, that wall's going at me sharpish.
I had a slide there, and it's the first time I've thought to myself, bloody hell, if I crashed there, I would actually hit that wall. And it's never even crossed my mind.
Getting old, mate.
Same thing, do you know, over you come out of the second chicane, motor up, it's the fastest part of the track, you go over Clay Hill.
Yeah.
And
I always used to go through there and then think the barrier, because they've moved that barrier back after John Kerr committed, didn't they? I always used to go through there and think, fucking, that's a bit near, isn't it?
You get crossed up there and go on the grass there. You're not slowing down before you hit the wall. So it is dangerous, but not on the same level as what you lads do.
No, but it's not even. I honestly didn't see the danger element. Like, I'm not saying that. It's the fact is, like, you know, before the start finish, you know, the right left, you know, that crack.
Yeah. There's
a corner there. Like on an RC30, I was flat stick, like just, and then just in, and the front was like offloading, and it's like there's just paint, isn't it? You know what I mean? You go off there, and it's just, the thing is, it drops away. You're coming off. There's no the element of getting self hurt. Yeah, you'd run out, but fuck, mate, it's just unreal.
Who was your teammate?
Alex Sinclair. He'll be listening to this now. You better mention me right now.
No, I think he's a sound lad. Him and his dad are lovely.
Oh, Ian and Alex, absolutely. I can't thank them enough because they're the ones who pushed me to get on. And Ian Martin provided the bike under like the team bike banner and everything like that. And it was just
always makes me laugh. He talked to his dad, and his dad sounds like he's from the West Country, and then Alex opened his mouth and sounds like he's from Swansea.
Anyway, same mama, different daddy.
What was the RC30 like to ride?
Oh, mate, it was we're all friends. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It was a bucket list bike, but it was a bit of a nail, to be fair. I'm gutted. Thing is, the lads rode it at Paul Ricard, and you know they're very open about it. Like the competition and that level were pumping tens of these bikes are worth, like, we're talking Joey Dunlop won TTs, they've won World Endurance events, they've won World Superbikes. Those were the bikes back in the day.
Steve Neat and Johnny Towers rode the Neat RC30
at Paul Ricard, exactly.
They were using our pit box, and the thing, you just look at it and think,
it was a proper super bike.
John Neat builds, what a lovely bike. Yeah. What a lovely bike. And that's the level that's what you have to better that or match it, don't you?
Of course, exactly. So Ian Martin, you know, he bought the bikes, he funded, got the bikes there and everything, and it was a case of the bike was brilliant, but it was a budget bike. But basically, it had more oil coming out of it than going in. The suspension, my God, don't even get me like my grand's bra had more support than that bloody bike. I'm telling you. Oh my God, lovely. Just tipping in. Oh yeah, it was like, it's graphic, isn't it? Like, oh God, love me, God. But like, no, it was great. The thing is, I can't take away like how lucky I've been, you know what I mean? That Alex and Ian and Martin and like everyone, you know, Jan, everyone, just to get me there, to go around that track. It's one of those, you can't refuse opportunities within reason. I was so lucky that, now, to be blunt, you kindly offered me an opportunity to go do endurance, but it was a case of privateer team and you have to put money in. At the time you offered it, I just didn't have the money, and I've gone shit. And you think, money isn't everything. But it is, and we'll end up spiraling down a different control of a conversation here. Because I remember hanging up the foot. No, you didn't actually. You were a perfect, absolute gentleman. Even with a sketchy haircut like that, you are trustworthy.
I need a haircut now. It's a bit out of control, isn't it?
No, but like, you know, you rang up and said, look, give yourself a few days, try and figure it out. When I rang everyone, I was like thinking, oh God, here we go. And I just went, look, I can't do it. And I remember hanging up the phone going, I've missed a huge opportunity.
There'll be another one. There'll be another one.
No, but there might not. Life is too short, and that's
what we do to ourselves, isn't it? Fucking hell! If that opportunity's gone, we're never going to get it again, and it'll come round. It'll come round again.
Nah, but like then this team bike opportunity came up, and I just went, I'm going, and I got to do something so incredibly iconic, like an event that my dad's always wanted to do, and he's never had the opportunity to do it himself. And I just went, this is huge for me.
Was that meeting the Bikers Classic? Do they call it the Bikers Classic? Was it just a classic bike meeting?
No. It was the Classic Endurance World FIM Classic League of it. So
they do.
It happens to most men, especially married one.
You need a blue tablet for that. My microphone moved, for those of you not watching. Because they do one at Spa called the Bikers Classic.
Yeah, that was normally in the...
Because I've done that before.
Right.
And that's a brilliant... And they do a classic endurance there with all the classic superbikes.
But how long was the race?
It was only a 4-hour race, but like I tell you what, like the thing is, they constantly have like track days ongoing and stuff like that. If I'm lucky enough to get invited back again, you know what I mean, and I would love to go do it again. But they combine like they fit practices around and like fit other races around. They had like the Belgium superbike race there. Mate, I do not care what kind of superbike I'll go on. I'll even go, like, it doesn't matter what it is. I need to enter that as well. To go around there on a superbike or a stock 1000 would be fun. Like, wow. I got to go on the superbike of that era.
Yeah.
But to go around there on a new bike
proper
now.
Tyres, proper suspension, a thing that handles, that goes where you want it to go.
God.
I rode around there in 2014 and 15 on a 350 Bull Taco.
Mid.
In that Bikers Classic thing. And I think my lap time I did a 3-minute dead on it. But I mean, the thing couldn't pull the skin off a rice pudding. And I came away from there and I said exactly the same thing. I need to ride around on here on a proper bike that handles, that goes exactly where you want it to go. And you will do. One day you'll do it and you'll just think, oh my God, what a place. It's just phenomenal.
And you ended up getting on the podium as well, didn't you?
Yeah,
fair play.
We got a podium. So no, me and Alex, I'll tell you what an absolute bollock I got off him. It was absolutely mint. So it was a race and we just chipped away, got faster and faster and faster. Both me and him got faster and faster. We kept adjusting the bike, even throughout the race. And the mad thing, we were doing oil stops as well as fuel stops because we only had one bike at a time. It was pumping out oil under the back tyre and everything. It was mental. It was absolutely great.
Where did you qualify? Was there a load that dropped out? That's not me saying you only got,
We qualified, I think we qualified 9th overall out of everyone. I tell you who I'm gutted for. The Wiz Norton team were there. Gary Vines was riding, Sean Anderson.
Yeah,
Sean Anderson was there, and Richard, and Ed was there from the TD, and like Andy, his dad, and like it was like the English shot just got crammed together. You know what I mean? There was like some like proper old school riders from like the Paget days and everything. It was just like this is like a home away from home kind of thing.
When you say the class, what was the class within the race?
I have no idea. There was like an open class, and then like see the Wiz Norton, because they had upside down folks. It was like in the but that Wiz Norton with Gary Vines on, and like Sean Anderson's never been there himself. Gary Vines has been a few times. The noise of that Norton. The rotary Norton, the one that Josh Brooks rode at the Classic TT,
Nice.
Gary went through me looking for the shortcut down this straight. And I'm like, oh my God, Gary, do it again. You know what I mean? It was just phenomenal. But unfortunately, they had a seizure. So the bike absolutely packed in. You think, that is a long way to go, innit, to do an endurance event. The endurance event money was £1,500 just for the entry. You know what I mean? That's a lot of cheddar. That's a lot of bacon, isn't it? Yeah, but you could have up to 3 riders at this event, and you just think, my God, they've gone all the way there again to try and get a finish, and it's just like, my God, you think that's painful. But we, like the Honda, good old reliable Honda, it just
kept plugging away.
Kept plugging away, and it just like the suspension overheated and everything like that. But like I say, for a lad who just bought the bike, prepped it as best he could with everything, and it was absolutely meant. Like even like Dunlop got on board, they provided the tires, and like Team Bike, the bike magazine were behind it, and you just think this is just proper. Like
what
proper.
Was Belgium like as a country? I've never been.
I'll tell you what though, you remember when I did a little review on Macau, and obviously it's pretty much smell to me. I reckon Calais smells like canned spam. I opened the window and immediately put it back up. I was like, this country stinks. You know, straight out the bottom like that, straight into Belgium. Was like that. This is lovely. I'll tell you what, though, there's no women out there, mind.
In Belgium,
I'm not selling it for you right now. Literally walking around like they were like hay bales.
I'm out.
He's not going. 100% not going.
Stick to Alton Park.
But I'm telling you, honestly, there was just no women. I'm absolutely devastated. They were like hay bales with feet.
Devastated.
Of course it was. You know, I'm thinking I'm off to a European country. I'm gonna have 7-foot goddess women with long blonde hair feeding me drinks and holding me brolly and stuff like that.
The reality was you're just surrounded by a lot of pot-bellied dudes with moustaches, smoking cigars and eating chips out of a cone with mayonnaise.
That's it.
Everything you're not into.
Yeah, well, on Thursday, Friday, it's a little bit different for me. You know what I mean? Get a couple of pork brownies down me neck. There you go. But but like I say, the event is just, it's like every event. The problem is when you fall in love with a place, you just think one thing, don't you? How do I get back?
Yeah.
And that is the problem. But my God, I've put the Euros on. It's 122 million tonight, gentlemen. 122 million. And my God, I would love to go do like a proper. I think I heard a rumor they're talking about doing a 24-hour race there.
Yeah, it's on the calendar for next year. Yeah, that was why there was quite a few of the World Endurance guys there when we went for that European round, because they're kind of using it as a bit of an opportunity to get there, do a little bit of testing, get the riders sort of used to going
Team France
around
were there. France Honda were there.
Were they?
My God, they were banging out some laps. They did all the track day sessions, everything. They were just there for the whole week. Bang, 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 bang.
So yeah, maybe you are getting prepared. We'll talk about your World Endurance stuff and like going to Spa as well. But just before talking about bucket list things, you were at Goodwood for not the
you're lucky,
not the revival, but the Festival of Speed.
Yes.
Tell us about what you were riding there.
I got to ride John McGuinness's
bike,
HM Plant Honda that he broke the 130 mile an hour record on, which was it was a bit of a weird one. I went over to see him. I just went over one day, and he says, "Oh, what are you doing on this weekend?" And I said, "I don't know why." And he said, "Oh, it's Goodwood, and they've asked me to take a few bikes along." So he said, "I'll take that." He took his Vimto 250. Which Davey Todd rode, and then he said there'll be my Bournemouth bike there as well. You know, the ZX10. So he said, I don't really want Goodwood just to put anybody on one. I'd rather sort of put somebody on them that I can trust and that I know will be all right. I said, fucking hell, well.
I've got a list of names for you, John, I can recommend.
I'll look through my phone book and find you somebody, you know. And he said, you know, it'd be, if you want to ride it, it'll be there. So I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, well, nobody's going to get that opportunity. So I did say to him, when we were there, I said, who else has ridden this bike then? And I'm pretty sure he said nobody. So I was like, oh my God. To be fair, it was on like slicks from 09 or 010, you know, from 10s. They were old slicks. You've got no warmers on Dunlops, so they're hard as anything. It had drizzled, so the track was a little bit greasy. And I just thought, you cannot be the knob that falls off this bike. So I
put a set of wets in, slap the tyre warmers off.
I just potted up the hill, and I just thought I'll just wave to people because I'm not even trying anything. And then I think that was Saturday, and then on the Sunday I thought I'll give it a little bit off the line, and the thing just span up over the bricks, and I thought I'm out, and that just So, but yeah, just mint to be able to go and do it, and just sort of see what they've got there and be part of that event. You know, the cars they've got there, and just phenomenal for not its ace.
Yeah,
it's
do you know? I would absolutely love to do the revival sometime.
Yeah.
I watched it this year, and just like it just looks like such a session, and like all the stuff afterwards, the ball, all dressed up and stuff. It's that's another massive bucket list thing for me.
It's ace. It's ace.
You never done that before?
No. And like I went to the ball as well. They called it a ball, but at festival, it's not really. It's sort of a sit down meal. So there was, luckily, I was gapping out thinking, I'm a fucking landscape gardener. I can't walk in here with a lot of billionaires that are flying helicopters in and out. So I was thinking, well, who are they going to put? I said, John, will they put me on a table? You know, I'm like this panicking kid, and he said, well, I don't know. They'll just put you wherever they put you. I'm thinking, oh fucking hell. I says, well, I'll just have to lie. I'll tell them I own a gold mine in Africa or somewhere. I'll bullshit my way through it. It'll be all right.
I'm best mates with R. Kelly.
Oh, yeah, that goes on really well at the minute. So I'm too soon, Dom. Too soon. So I'm like, you go into his house and they're just pouring this champagne, you know, Moet champagne. You're just thinking, oh my God, what's going on? Took us into this like big marquee off the side of the house, and you're looking for your table number. And I'm walking along and I could see Hillier, and I'm like, oh, I don't know where. And he had this grin on his face, and I looked and I said, oh, fucking thank God for that. So there was me and James and his missus, one of the Paget's guys, and then Ewan, John's lad Ewan, and me. So we were all right. So I didn't have to be honest with you,
be an African gold miner.
I didn't have to be an African gold miner. I could just be the landscape yard. You know, it was all right, to be fair. But yeah, we just got spangled. It was just it was good fun, good crack.
And going back to the endurance, so since we've last spoke to you, you've had 2 World Endurance rounds, one at Estoril, one at Bordeaux. Is that right?
Yeah.
How was the championship this year?
Yeah. Do you know what? With the roads being cancelled, I kind of wanted to commit to doing a season of something and a championship. I've done the BSB thing years ago, and the funds to try and do it are just unrealistic for the track time that you get. Mm-hmm. So for me, I wasn't really bothered about doing that. So I'd spoken with the British Endurance team, which is Dave Railton and John Railton. John's done loads in the British Championship over the years, and I think he rode for Brent back in 11, 12. Mm-hmm. So I thought, yeah, I'll have a bit of a go at this. So Le Mans 24 hours, something I wanted to do for so long. And I think, again, similar to what we were talking about before, going from racing on the roads to doing the short circuits, there's always kind of the short circuits are a little bit when you've done the roads. So for me, like, the challenge is, all right, well, if we're going to go on the short circuits, let's just go for hours and hours and just turn that into a grueling, horrendous, blistering chore, and just make riding on short circuits a bit more interesting. So we did the Le Mans test, which was the official test, which was my first time. That was my first time back on a bike since I broke my back.
To be fair, though, they were messing you about. Something rotten. They cancelled it, changed it, moved it. There was lots of things going on at the beginning.
The test was always when they said it was going to be. We were all right for the test. So myself and John and Dave drove down there, just packed a small van. We did take 2 bikes, but obviously you don't need any of the paddock bullshit, do you? You don't need any of the sponsors board. So just took what we needed, went down there, and John McGuinness rang me the morning of the first day, and he said, right, listen, he said, your head is going to roll off here with these boys, because he said, you don't realise how fast these lads are. You know, you're out there with Gintoli, Javier Simeon, Mike D'Amelio, Robbie Rolfo, David Checker, Marcus Reiterberger, Nicolo Canepa. You know, you're riding with
world class.
Have you seen his missus, by the way, Canepa's?
Factory.
Unbelievable. Have you?
He's a handsome bastard, don't he?
He is, but he's punching.
Do you think? She's factory. Yeah, she's absolute factory. Yeah.
Mega, yeah.
You've got a problem. You need to go to therapy or something. Mention a dude and he's like, oh, yeah, but he's in his missus. Fucking. This is for your other podcast, isn't it?
The only time I
Perving on birds.
The Canepa on Instagram. And yeah, that is a bit special.
Oh, she's stunning.
Mm. Sorry, go back to the bike.
What first attracted you to your multi-millionaire motorcycle racing partner? Yeah. So yeah, like John says, just you know, I'm thinking, okay, now can it be that bad? Like first session out, I think it was Kenny Forek came down the outside and outbraked me into one of the long double rights on the painted curb on the outside of me on the front wheel, and I was like, what am I doing? Why am I even in here? I should just go back to Knaresborough and just keep digging holes and moving dirt, because I've got no business in here with these boys. You know, they are just, the standard of riding in there is phenomenal. Mm. Absolutely outstanding, you know. And the money as well, you just look around, it's like a MotoGP paddock. You know, the factories are chucking some money at it, and it's such a popular sport over there in France as well. Nearly 80% of the grid is French teams. Proper money going into it as well. Proper money. And
as a manufacturer, endurance surely would mean a lot more than just winning outrights. But, you know, as an engineering element of it, you know what I mean? To be able to bang out consistent times for 24 hours, that's a proper engineer's, like, you know, cockfight, innit? You know what I mean?
Suzuki won both the Bordeaux and Le Mans 24 hour.
Mm-hmm. It's a little bit like that with the TT, where for people that are wanting to buy bikes, it's a much better gauge to see it on a real road getting absolutely hammered.
Yeah. Of course it is.
Than say choosing off like a BSB race or a World Superbike race.
Yeah.
You don't see that many Ducatis on the road, do you? Well, first of all, people can't really afford them. You know what I mean? But it's that kind of element of it. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
But like we did that. We did the test, and I was as quick as John, which for me it was good because he's done a lot more short circuit. Obviously, I had question marks over how I was physically going to get on with it because I haven't really been able to train over winter because I've been trying to recover and let my back do its thing. So yeah, the times were good, consistent.
I remember seeing you beginning of this year. You looked really good at Donington.
Felt all right, yeah. I was riding like a shuttle bed, to be honest with you. I didn't really feel like I was. I don't know. I just didn't feel like I was gelling with stuff, and I was in tatters. I was in bits. My back was just fucking horrendous. But what do? Do you sit at home and think,
coulda, woulda, shoulda?
Yeah, or do you just think, we'll just have a massive tablespoon of cement and get out and get stuck in? You know, you'll be all right. That's what ibuprofen and paracetamol are for, aren't they? Failing that, get on the whiskey and then the tramadol. End up in a drug infused. Yeah. So yeah,
episode 1.
I felt all right at Donington. You know, it's sort of. Yeah, and then the French wouldn't let us in for Le Mans. That's why that didn't happen, because Dan Linfoot, Danny Kent, and Mossy were supposed to ride for a French team for Le Mans 24 hour.
Sorry for interrupting. How is Danny Kent? Has anyone heard of it?
He's on his feet. He's
dislocated hip, wasn't it?
Was it dislocated or fracture? I think it was maybe fractured and dislocated. But yeah, he's on his feet, but he isn't back riding yet.
Right,
he's relatively all right, I think.
That's good to hear. So, sorry, continue.
There was those three. They were in a French team. Westy was riding. He's as the fourth rider for the French, that 333, which they're like one of the best privateer, but sort of factory supported, but not factory support. You know, they've got a decent backing, and I think they get a bit of help from Yamaha. He's in there with Nico Terol, Florian Alt, and Florian Marino. So again, top. Yeah. So he's in with them boys.
There's quite a few from the UK, like Gino goes over. Hickman.
Gino, yeah. Hickey's usually involved with the factory BMW team.
Forres was over there.
Yeah. Yeah, he does them all. He does them all. Honestly, the grid's phenomenal. But yeah, they wouldn't let us in. They initially granted us dispensation.
We've missed the stars as well. Captain Kawasaki and Chris.
Yeah. Them boys.
Johnny Blackshaw's been out early.
Yeah.
Top lads.
And James Edwards.
Yeah,
they just did the last one at Bordeaux. Fair play to them. They finished 6th.
Yeah, seen that.
6th in class. I think they were 12th overall, 13th overall. But fair play to them. Fair play. They just, you know, I don't think they'll mind me saying it, fairly inexperienced team. Went there, you know, all trying to find their feet, and you know what it's like, you're all trying to kind of find your place and stuff. And I think Johnny'd been a big help because obviously he's been there and done the endurance thing before, so he sort of whipped a few of the lads into shape and sort of told them how they were going to have to structure things. But yeah, they've just kept, you know, weren't going for lap times, just keep the bike going, and that's the name of the game in the 24-hour. So yeah, fair play to the ADS boys.
I think that must be the longest Chris has managed without
chucking it at the fence.
he doesn't mind a little crash, Chris, does he? He's a duo, like.
He gets stuck in, yeah.
So the first round, which was Estoril. Yeah, how was that?
Estoril, it was good. It was an eye-opener. Again, you know, you're going into a track that you don't know with a load of quick lads. But I think we did all right. We had an issue. We'd got issues with the electronics. We run a practice bike and then we save the race bike for the race. And the electronics on the practice bike, the ECU, we swapped it over to see if the ECU was different, because we were just getting the practice bike was nicer to ride. And we tried all sorts. We set all the settings exactly the same. We still couldn't get it the same. So we actually swapped the ECUs, and it improved where the problem was. Anyway, it was a silly little electrical problem at the start of the race. John started the race, got us, made up quite a few places actually, and then I think he was maybe 6 laps in, and he had to come in because the thing was misfiring. So, like I say, it was something silly, but these things happen. We got back out, and I think he was just riled by it. You know what it's like? You're flustered and frustrated. And his dad just said, we'll bring him in a little bit early, get you on the bike, go out, just settle into your stint. It was 28 degrees. Track temperature was like high 40s. First 50 minutes, it was just horrendous. I came and I thought, I don't know how we're going to do 12 hours of this. And laid in we just had a paddling pool out the back of the garage, just went and laid in that. And then, to be honest with you, got better. I got stronger as the race went on. The next stint just felt a little bit easier, and the one after that felt easier again.
Just starting to relax more into it.
I think the pressure goes, your body just starts to condition to it. And honestly, the second to last stint was the easiest stint I did.
Do you know, like, say if you were going out to do a no limits 12-lap sprint race, compared to if that was you, say, pushing 100%, let's just say, what do you knock it off maybe 10% to save energy, or do you feel like you're going out and like every stint putting it, like pushing?
Yeah, you do. I mean, you're not pushing quite in the same way because you're conscious that you have to get that bike back and get somebody else on it. So if you feel like the front end's just starting to patter and you have a couple of moments, you're just conscious that I've got 10 hours left that this bike has to do. So it's not worth then the risk into the next turn. So you do have to ride slightly different. You have to change your mentality. I crashed twice at Estoril in qualifying. I've done very little on slicks and on Dunlop slicks, and I washed the front twice on the brakes, going into trail braking in and just trying to learn my way through it. It was my fault, 100%. Went back, the bike wasn't too bad. Kurt Wigley was the third rider. He chucked it at the fence. So, we'd kind of done one apiece. But yeah, in the race, Kurt actually hurt his back in the race. So me and John had to sort of step in and do a little bit more than you normally would have had to done. But
we'll have to think about this when we do the next Free Tech Endurance race, Dom. The saving ourselves for like what is it, a 6 hour at Mallory?
Is that what it is?
When's the dates on that?
11th of November, I think. Me and you are booked on to do it with Ryan Garside. I did check with you earlier in the year. I
messaged you saying, we got something on the 11th.
Oh, is it 11th?
I've no idea.
Oh, well, I think we're on for that, but if not...
Oh, shit.
I can't remember. Maybe not. And then off to Baldor for the next one.
Yes, and then Baldor was because we should have been Oschersleben. Oschersleben got cancelled. So they then said, right, you're straight to Baldor now. So, yeah, Baldor then 24 hours, which is Paul Ricard. The circuit's the Paul Ricard circuit, which, again, I've never been there before.
Same, yeah. What was it like?
Took a bit of learning. Quite a hard place. I found it quite a difficult place to learn. It's quite flat, but there's no grass. So you kind of haven't got the same visual references. And like turn one, the start-finish straight goes downhill. And then turn one kind of cambers left and then goes up. So you can't see, when you're coming down the start-finish straight, you can't see really where turn one is because you can't see where the tarmac runoff ends, the track starts, and then where there should be, it just looks like a big sea of tarmac. So picking up braking markers, and it's featureless. But you settle in, like racing it in the pitch black as well. That's an eye opener. Proper pitch black.
Did it take a bit? No, when you're tipping in and then your shadow looks like it's coming underneath you.
No, there were two things that because Dan was riding for the Wojciech team. And I saw Dan, I said, what do you make of that? And he said, fucking hell. He said, I'm just turning in early everywhere. And exactly the same thing. You turn in because you think, the corner's here. And you tip in and then you go, I had so much more time.
What do you make to his hair transplant, by the way, Dan's?
Exquisite. It's just perfection, isn't it? Perfection.
It's a good podcast. Obviously, the first time you were on, we were talking about Dan coming on the podcast, but we did manage to get it sorted.
I listened to him.
Went down really well.
Yeah,
We've got loads of positive comments.
He's done so much, Dan. He's done a lot. He's been around, done all different championships, different bikes, got a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience, a lot of stories to tell.
He's a really nice lad as well.
Yeah, he's spot on. He's spot on. Like I say, I've known him since we were 11. So what's that? 20 years, 21 years I've known him.
It was anything else to wrap the World Endurance stuff up? Have you got any? Was there any like juicy gossip, or
no?
Has anything like major happen?
The race was just was shit for us. I don't know how far I want to go into it because you just end up offending people, don't you? But one of the lads slipped off, and I don't know. I didn't buy into his reason for why he said he'd fallen off, but it was 4 hours in, into a 24-hour race, and you just think, for fuck's sake, it could have happened to anybody, fair enough, but the point that it happened and how it happened, it's just, the last thing I said to him was, the sun is now getting real low, so you need to just be taking your time. It's so important now just to feel your way back into it, and like 3 or 4 laps in, bike's in the wall, smashed into pieces, and They got the bike back, spent 2.5 hours. Fair play to the lads. They absolutely busted the bollocks to get the bike back going again. But we were 35 we were dead last, and we were 35 laps down on the next guy, and he was 54 laps down on the leaders. So we're 90 laps down on the leaders. And
Wow.
I just said to Dave, I said, we're just flogging a dead horse now. We're never, ever going to make that time up. We're going to lose time to the leaders because they will end up lapping you because they've got faster pit stops. The back straight we were going through the speed traps at 321 kilometres an hour, so it's 202, 203 mile an hour. Yeah, it's 200 miles. You sat 200 miles in the dark.
Wow.
And your braking market is 2 cones, little traffic cones with a day glow.
That must be pretty.
That's
a
mint.
pretty decent feeling. Like not many people. Like,
Do you
people
know what?
talk about 200 mile an hour and like super stock bikes. Like liter bikes going 200 mile an hour. Very very few people have been over 200 mile an hour on a track. Even like the Northwest, most people do like 197, 198. Not many people at all get over 200
mile an hour in the dark because the bikes run better at night. They just run, and it's noticeable. They just feel so much nicer. But my lap times were the same in the night stint that I did in the race as they were.
That's amazing.
In the day, in the daylight, it's cool. And the weird thing is, 130 mile an hour doesn't feel any different to 200 mile an hour. You just sit there and you just think. I mean, the back straight there is just obscene. We walked the track because I didn't really know where I was going. I walked the track with Dan and Sheridan Marias. And Sheridan's been a few times, so I'm like picking his brains about it. And then we walked around onto that back straight, and I'm like, boys, we're going to have some crack here because it's going to take like 20 minutes to walk. I think it's 1.8 kilometres, the back straight there. Honestly, you just think, well, how long is that? They're all kicking off saying that they want them to, there's a chicane. There is actually a chicane halfway up that they don't run. And a lot of the teams are saying, you need to put the chicane in because it's just too much on the bikes. I think there was 19 finished the race.
Yeah, just to put that into perspective for people in the UK, I think the old start-finish straight at Shenanigans, which is like one of the longest straights in the country, was 0.9 kilometres.
Yeah,
so you're saying that's 1.8?
Yeah.
Double that.
Yeah.
That is like insane.
You're in 6th halfway down the straight.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's with like a tall gearing.
So you're doing over 200 on is it pretty super stock or is
It's a completely super stock, yeah.
Wow, that is unbelievable.
Yeah. The ADSS lads on their Kawasaki, they were 20k quicker than us.
Wow.
Yeah. So like
well over 200 mile an hour.
Johnny was 209 mile an hour, I think he went through. Yeah, fair play. Fair play to him.
That is impressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah, it's cool. It was cool. So yeah, anyway, the bike got smashed up, we just said. I think the team probably would have carried on. From my point of view, you know, as riders, the 3 riders foot the bill. So the bill for 24 hours worth of tyres and fuel to finish last. I'm there to race. I'm not there to parade. I'm not there to ride around. And when they sent me back out, the whole time I was riding around, I just thought, what's the point in this now?
Yeah.
We can't salvage anything from this. We are only ever going to be last. And in the next 18 hours, if the leaders pulled, I think if they're more than 100 laps ahead of you, you're not even classified. So you could finish the race, but your result isn't classified. So there's a chance that even after all of that, you know, I mean, it's quite common that the first team can be 15, 20 laps ahead of the guy in 4th. Yeah. That's quite a common thing. So realistically, they were going to pull quite a few laps on us. And I can't see the point of this now. It's, you know, I've got a competitive nature in me and I'm not here just to ride around. So
that's fair enough.
Yeah, so that was it. We pulled the plug.
Have we got anything? Oh, well, I tell you what, we'll as well as doing a bit of the World Endurance, you also did a little bit of Super Twin racing on the CF.
Yeah.
Which is, so Gary Johnson's Mrs. Freddie is the UK importer.
Yeah, so she's got Quadzilla.
Yeah, and
which everybody's heard of Quadzilla, and they then bring CF Moto in, which I believe used to be WK.
Yes.
And then I think they've been bought out or they've rebranded as CF.
Yeah, and so they've it's in the Super Twin class. It's basically a Chinese version of a sort of a ER6.
It's like the ER6 SV 650, but I don't think it's a V twin. I don't really know a lot about the technical spec of the bike.
Yeah.
It's a 700 because the rules have said that they can allow a 700 in, but they're still, you know, they're not making they're not making mega horsepower, and I've never ridden a twin before.
Was Croft your first time on a twin?
Croft was my first time on a twin, yeah.
You cleaned up as well, didn't you? Cause
I did all right. Boothie was
I watched
there as well,
the 44 Teeth video with Boothie,
yeah,
and obviously onboard footage, and you're on pole position.
Yeah, no, I was second because it cut out on me in qualifying, so I did one lap and finished second, and then I think I ended up on pole for the races. My first race, I've
got a little.
Do you reckon we'll see it at the TT on one then, like on a super twin?
Do you know what?
You would.
I hope so. I'd like to ride one round there, and I'd like to ride with Freddie and Gaz. Me and Gaz, I've known Gaz for probably about 5 years now.
Yeah.
And he's a bit like the big brother that I never asked for, because we've had our arguments and our spats, but, I love the lad to bits. He talks absolute shite a lot of the time, and we get stuck into each other, but he's got a heart of gold. And when we were on one of these Triumph trips, he said to me, I'm going to sort this so you have an opportunity on this bike. He said, I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know what the bike's going to be like, but, I'm going to do what I can for you. And he's been true to his word, and he's done me a real good turn with it. I think the bike's got potential. And their plan is that they can build a race bike that you can go and buy that's ready to go. And unlike other certain tuners who are selling super twins that are very, very, very expensive, this is a realistic thing for everybody to be able to buy.
What sort of money are you talking for, like a super?
I would not want to say because I don't know exactly, but you could basically choose your spec of it as well.
Right.
Because Aprilia are doing that now, aren't they?
Yeah, they're with the 660.
Yeah.
So this was onboard footage from the race. Here you are there on pole.
There's Jack Fowler
on pole position.
Tell you what,
that is the most beautiful bike ever made.
Absolutely stunning.
Look at that start. No messing there, were you?
I don't know. Do you know what? It's one of the
DJ from Whitley Bay there.
And I'll give that lad there a shout out in a second.
He used to play for Whitley Warriors in ice hockey, so I wouldn't get on the wrong side of him.
No, the young fella in second there's like called Tommy Downs. He's just won the mini twin championship
for No Limits
with CF.
Yeah. No, I saw him at. I saw him at. Where did
he can steer a bike. He's got some talent. Is that lad? Yeah, did a really good job for him. He's not shy of chucking one at the fence. I don't think he gets stuck in, and he's a doer. So.
Because like you say, CF Motor have had a cracking season. They've been focusing on the No Limits Championship, and they've just been consistent and reliable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean they're having a proper do it. They've got Paul Holden from Moto 46. He's involved with it. Frank Rathel from Dynajet.
Right.
So they're taking the job seriously.
Do you know what sort of horsepower it's kicking out roughly?
I wouldn't even know. I ain't got a bloody clue.
112.
I don't think that'll be three figures. I literally just turned up and put my helmet on and rode it. They just finished getting it together on the Thursday night.
Fair.
So I said, yeah, and they said,
that says a lot though. You know what I mean? It says a lot though that you hopped on it and immediately enjoyed it though.
It was good fun. It was just enjoyable to ride. Yeah, it was good crack, and I think it's got some potential, and I think they'll do all right with it. And the factory have just announced that they're going to go into MotoGP, into Moto3. In 2022, I believe. So,
Jesus wept.
As a factory, they're taking it seriously, So they're into the racing.
That's hell.
Yeah.
Now that's a hell of a jump, considering you've gone from
Well, I'm out to do it. I'm like I say, I'm just like.
Oh yes, you never know.
I doubt it. Fucking 6'3". I'm not good on one of them, am I? But
I beg the differ.
You do all right. Do all right.
You're mopped up, son. You're mopped up.
Unreal. And we've had a few rounds of World Superbike since our last podcast, so there's been quite a few bits happening. It's all heating up, obviously, between Toprak and Johnny Ray as the main two sort of championship protagonists. They were racing at Jerez the weekend just gone, and obviously we sort of can't talk about the weekend without mentioning the passing of Maverick Vinales' younger cousin, a 15-year-old, and a very sort of sad day in the world of, I'm just trying to get the article on here. So Dean Burt Vinales, and he unfortunately passed away in the World Supersport 300 race, or a session. I'm not sure if it was a race, but it's obviously incredibly sad. We seem to have had a lot of young, I think there's been at least 3 in the last few months, sort of young European riders pass away.
Yeah, there was that one, wasn't there? There was, I always feel really guilty that I don't know names, but
I'm terrible with names.
Shit with names at home, to be honest with you. I'm surprised I can remember my little lass's name half the time. Yeah, there was a young lad in the CEV Championship, wasn't there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then obviously the young fella, was he, where were they? Magello. Yeah.
Yeah, so, it's one of them where...
I tell you what, we were down, me and Chrissy were down at the North Yorkshire Road Racing Supporters Club. I actually got that right for a change. Incredible. And we had Jamie Whittam on, and like, Jamie, what a character, you know what I mean? And the best thing, and what it makes him such a loved national treasure of motorcycle racing is the fact that he wears his heart on his sleeve, and when he says something, he means it. It's not force-fed bullshit whatsoever. And he sat on stage, and he was having the crack, and obviously this came on. One of the audience asked him a straight-up question. He says, do you think there should be an age limit in like racing? And you know what? Jamie Whittam came up with a very diplomatic answer on this side of things, but you know, it's 16.
What was his take on it?
His take on it, you know what I mean? Now, obviously, I'm pick and choosing up the whole conversation, choosing an answer, but he came up with a very valid point, and it's a bit like, it's a life and death situation racing motorcycles. You know, you're in charge of a bit of machinery, you're racing, you're pushing hard, but you're having to make decisions that are affecting life and death at like less than 16. You know what I mean? You couldn't even buy cigarettes.
15 onto this weekend.
15. You know what I mean, though? But like, have you had a rider go down in front? I've had a rider go down in front of me, and I've gave a handful of brake to drop the front. I know, like, one of my first races I ever went to, and I saw someone do that for my dad, and the front wheel just missed my dad's neck. You know what I mean? It's that conscious effort. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying these lads are so highly trained from such a young age. And like what Jamie was he was talking about how the nation, you know, the British nation, even every other nation, we're trying to get riders younger and younger and younger at the higher level. And they're just getting like 2-year-old, can he walk? No, bollocks, put him on a motorcycle.
Bike, yeah.
And that was James' point. And it's interesting because when he started racing, you had to be 16 to get a race license. People weren't doing it till they were 18, 20, getting a job kind of thing. It just shows like the development of the sport. But incidents like this do bring that question back down to earth. And
This class, unfortunate. This class in particular has had quite a lot of criticism as well, to be fair. The lower classes in general, even at BSB this weekend at Oulton Park, the whole Supersport 300 grid got taken in for like a proper telling off Stuart Higgs. I think the race got red flagged twice. One of my friends, Christian, got wiped out on the warm-up lap. Loads and loads of crashes, and I'm not really too sure why it seems so unsafe. In the past, like say when
I'll tell you why, because they're fucking nuts. You know when you sit and you watch one of those races, there's 10 of them all fighting for the same bit of tarmac. But I always think
so fair. The class is so fair. And the thing is, you've got loads of lads going hard at it, all on the same tyres, all on the same bike, all the same power, and it's.
I grew up watching 125s with like Manuel Poggiali and them boys racing, and Lorenzo racing 125 Grand Prix bikes, and I don't ever remember sitting and watching 6 abreast into turn. I just don't remember the carnage being quite as. It's just fucking crazy, isn't it? Like they just seem to have like better racecraft in GPs than what the lads are doing on the 300s. It's not being disrespectful, but you know when you, I'm not the right person to sort of be able to find a solution. I don't know.
Yeah, and like for example, there's that thing about bringing the minimum age. And for example, I don't know if it's still the same now, but it used to be the case that you weren't allowed to race until you were 16 in Australia.
Yeah.
And that's why Casey Stoner came over to the UK to do the police super teens when he was 12 or 13, because he wasn't allowed to race in Australia. If we, like for example,
future, didn't it?
Exactly.
That's what people are seeing, aren't they?
And exactly the same thing in, like, say, in Spain, when you go over there and they've got so many of the kids racing and, like, say, 12, 13 getting onto Grand Prix bikes. And there is a fine line. It's a very difficult one, but obviously if it's a one-off incident, if it's a one-off now and again, once in a blue moon sort of, you can say it's a freak accident, where once they start happening more frequently, at some point there has to be a conversation to be had.
I think all those 3 that we've talked about now are all the rider's been hit by another group
rider.
following.
Yeah.
They're
Tight
all,
race,
you know,
yeah.
it's not someone's flicked themselves to the moon, landed badly and suffered, you know, as a result of it. They've had a crash and either they've hit a rider who's been down or they've been hit and the outcome's a fatality. But how do you...
You can't. It's just one. It's such a difficult thing. I think
It's like an unavoidable accident, isn't it? You know, how do you stop that? Racing is racing because people are close to each other.
Yeah,
That's what makes racing. Nobody's interested in watching a time trial where people set off at 10-second intervals. Unless it's the TT.
But if that was a bunch of 25-year-olds...
But the outcome would have been the same, wouldn't it?
It would have been the same.
It could be a bunch of world-class Grand Prix racers or riding MotoGP bikes. If somebody crashes at the front of a group and the guys behind have got nowhere to go,
it's
such a difficult.
It's inherently dangerous, the sport, and it's a very fine balance between wrapping kids up in cotton wool and allowing sort of free will to do what they want. And
I get Whit's point about...
but see, Whit's talking about the pressure.
It's the maturity of it, yeah.
That was, like I say, I'm putting words in his mouth. You had to be there on the night to get his full point of it, and he came across so brilliantly when he said it, but like his whole point was, it's the pressure pot. And like you say, it's like kids at 2, and you've got people going, right, this, and you have to be world champion by 17. That was his point. And there was only one top of the triangle, and that's been MotoGP. And he was referring it back to Jonathan Rea, how in modern success, he's almost a glorified failure in a way because he's not a MotoGP.
Because he didn't get into Grand Prix, yeah.
That's the thing. And he's talking about society as a pressure now within the sport. And he's saying, like, at 15, like all these lads are going around going, I've got to be world champion before I'm 19. And that was his point. Yeah,
it's such a difficult thing to having to put your point on because I don't know where I sit on it. And I certainly wouldn't know what the solution would be.
I'm the same.
What do you say? I mean, if
it's an unanswerable question. It really is.
If your kid turned around to you and said, if my little lass turned around to me and says, I want to go riding bikes, then we'll go and ride bikes.
Of course,
but if she says to me, Dad, I'm not interested in this anymore. I just want to do gymnastics. I'm not.
Exactly.
It's maybe an unpopular opinion, but I think I've said it on the podcast before, I kind of think of it the other way sometimes and think for all the racing that's happening, like say this year, every club race, there's like packs of, say, thousands setting off, flammable, going like 160 mile an hour, everyone chasing for that piece of tarmac.
Yeah.
And for the amount of fatalities in like a year, considering all of the risks that are being taken.
Yep, exactly.
Well, how many people die every year climbing Everest? How many people die riding horses? How many die doing motocross?
This is in no way this is in no way trivializing. No,
not at all.
Obviously,
not at all.
For anyone that's been involved with or like had family or whatever, it's
what has happened is horrible,
horrific.
Yeah.
But there is that conversation.
It is that thing of we're hearing about it because it's something that's so close and important to us, isn't it? So it's all it's our lives, isn't it? That's why we're hearing about it, and it's horrific. What can be done to change it? I don't know. Because the thing is, you move the age group, then there'll be an uproar, aren't they? Well, what we're supposed to be 18, well, we're too old by that age, or 16, we're too old. We need to be doing this when we're 12. It's such a hard thing to get. I'm glad I've not got a political job trying to do it, because who do you sit around the table with and make that decision with?
Exactly. And in the World Superbike race, they ended up having race 1, race 2. Race 1, Toprak won from Jonathan Rea and Scott Reddin, and so sort of advantage Toprak in the championship. And then he followed it up and did the double. And in the second race, Jonathan was down in 6th, I think. So it was like, in terms of the championship, Toprak is now on 4.49, and Jonathan Rea is on 4.29. So there's 20 points in it. It's good. It's good to see it, and it's good to. Obviously, I want Johnny to win it because you support your lads, don't you? But it's good to see a bit of Toprak's fucking hell. He's some boy to watch, eh? Oh. Some boy to watch. And it's just nice to have a bit of there's something sort of fresh in there, isn't there? It's not.
You know,
How do you-
Sykes isn't on pole at every round, and Johnny doesn't win every race like it was for a few years. Now stuff's getting mixed up a little bit.
For the first time in a while, there was the MotoGP and the World Superbikes on at the week. Was it last weekend or the weekend before? I think. And I was sat at home, and I've got to be totally honest, I was more excited to watch the World Superbike race to see what happened between Toprak and Jonathan than MotoGP. For me, MotoGP right now, and I can't really explain why, because I think. Well,
we're gonna have different champions.
Can't really explain
like
what.
It just feels
can't
a bit
really explain,
stale.
but to me,
there's no character. There's no drama. There's no oomph. You know what I mean? Everyone's almost too polite in a way. You know what I mean?
The thing with GPs is all you've kind of lost the pantomime man to follow. You know, obviously Rossi's retiring, and he's sort of, you know, he's gone off the boil. Fair enough. He'll be thinking about chilling out. Marquez is injured. There kind of isn't the, like say, the flamboyancy and the. It's lost its kind of madness. Whereas with Toprak, you've just got
endos, wheelies,
ace to watch, and Johnny's having to work a little bit harder now to try and figure out what's going on.
For me, it's almost backwards in terms of people. It should be kind of BSB, then World Superbike should be like even better to watch, and then MotoGP should be the best
pinnacle of it. Yeah,
it's actually the totally opposite for me right now. Yeah. I'm least interested in MotoGP, then World Superbikes. I'm desperate to see what's happening between Toprak and Jonathan, and then BSB for me me at the moment is
BSB's ace. I didn't watch BSB for probably 6 years. Just was not interested. I just thought I'd rather put glass down my head fella. You know what I mean? I'm not interested in watching it. But like this year, I have watched it, and I think it's ace. It's ace. What? Things like Brooksy coming back, like now, you know, you're starting
king of the sandbags.
Ed's gone. That's it. He's knackered. He'll be retiring. Nah, you know. And
Jason O'Halloran.
Yeah.
He has had a flawless season.
It was his to lose, wasn't it, really? And then
look what's happened.
He's dropping out of it. And
well,
Tommy at the weekend, fucking hell, fair play. I'm sure, I don't know whether he listens, but Tommy Bridewell, fair play to you, mate. That was outstanding. That was incredible.
What was the gap he pulled at the end of the
8
race?
8 seconds, wasn't it?
And then he had a little mistake in the last lap. But you know what I mean? That is, when's the last time there was a gap like that?
He was having a smoke and a whiskey, wasn't he? He was just...
In a championship that's so close. I mean, second to sort of 10th was one train, and then he just cleared off.
But he'd got 1.5 seconds, one lap in. He checked out, gone.
When does that happen?
Well, it doesn't, does it?
Not a British.
And even the race before was mega to watch as well, because he ran on at the chicane, went through the things. He was sat in like sort of 10th, then 8th, and then the last sort of 6 laps, it was like, hang on, like he's progressing through.
Getting his finger out.
And he ended up coming through and taking the win. But yeah, the rate, like you say, anyone, it doesn't matter like your personal opinions, but anyone with any bit of a heart would feel sorry for Jason O'Halloran, because
absolutely,
year he's been absolutely faultless,
and he deserves to win the championship.
Yeah, he does deserve to be fair.
Do you agree with the Showdown? Nah, here we go. You're going to end up talking yourself out of this.
Not really, but I understand why they're doing it. They're trying to.
The Showdown is unbelievably unpopular on social media amongst the fans. If they ever put anything on the BSB Facebook, the Showdown gets absolutely hammered. However, and we were chatting about this at the show last night, pretty much everyone in the audience hates the Showdown. However, if Jason O'Halloran had a 100-point lead in the championship, you wouldn't be as interested to put the next race on.
No, and he isn't going to be... he ain't going to be having sleepless nights, which is horrible for the ride, isn't it? But you know, it's. I understand why they do it
in terms of entertainment. Last,
it's a fact. Like that's the thing. Like,
why are you not on board with it?
I am.
You are on board with it.
I'm on board with it.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Shoot me down or anything like that. But the fact is, they know what they're signing up for. It's not like halfway through the season. From a competitor's
point of view, you'd be sick if you'd put all that time and effort in.
But you see, the fact is, you could have an engine blow up or anything in the championship. No. But the thing is, it gives everyone...
I'm not arguing with you, Don. Why are you getting aggressive?
I'm
Come over there and feed you that microphone in a minute.
I wear massive. Go on. I'll knock 2 foot off you, you gangly bastard.
That whole thing about because you could say it's unfair, but life's unfair.
Yeah, no, and that's why I'm saying I agree with it. I think it's I understand why they're doing it,
but I completely agree with his first comment. My heart is bleeding for Jason O'Halloran.
That's what I mean. Yeah. If you were Jason O'Halloran, you'd think the shootout was a load of old shite, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
that's the top and bottom of it, because you'd say that was my championship. I've been Mr. Consistent. I've done everything right, and
Where would you even begin to try and consolidate Jason at this point? You know, you've had 2 crashes bearing in mind he's been knocked off before this point.
Yeah.
These are his 2 own crashes.
Yeah.
But
you have them weekends, don't you? When you just want to put the bike back in the van and go, I need to forget that.
Because everyone wants him to win it.
Yeah.
But this is what's made that, like, the sport now, everyone's going, please, like you say.
Wouldn't it be good if Brooksy won it? From there, you'd go,
no, king of the sandbaggers.
Yeah.
It would be the most unpopular. Like, it would. How would you absorb that as a fan?
It would be unpopular, but it's that same thing.
I don't think it would be.
In my opinion, it was getting a little bit tedious with Brooksy kind of just, you could almost, he was the odds-on favourite to win all the time, wasn't he? And then he's come out the gates this year and everyone's going,
what's wrong with him?
Why is he running round in like 16th?
If he wins, but in a way though, like it'd be ace. It would be ace. It would be like, what the hell's this come from? But in some way, it would be like Marmite. It would be the ultimate Marmite result because people would go, what the is he sandbagged it?
And he only won it because of the showdown. Well, do you know what? No, he's just pulled his finger out when he needed to, or the boys have figured out whatever the problem was.
No, but the mad thing is, it'd be that will be the ultimate question. It's like, was this the plan? And you know, but Josh is such a confident person, and he just sat there going, you know what? If he actually sat there and said this was the plan, people would believe that. Not many riders can do that.
I've got to be honest, mind. I think this year Josh has gained loads of fans.
Yes,
just by being a trier and just sticking at it. And
I personally don't. He's not the most popular rider, I would say, amongst the fans over the last few years. But seeing him go down, I think there's a genuine nobody likes to see like a top class athlete.
Struggling.
Like, for example, do you know, like, say if you Tiger Woods after his dominance, seeing him back, doesn't matter. Everyone's kind of like, you shouldn't be there. Like, come on, and everyone sort of got behind him. And I think Josh is even surprised himself about how much support he's got, and like to see him back up on the podium. I think people who maybe weren't big Josh Brooks fans think fair play, like coming through that and getting
that's
that.
Me.
Yeah,
that's me. And
even you, Joe.
No, like I was sort of, you know. I've met him a couple of times and never sort of thought, you know, I don't know. He can just be a bit of a difficult character sometimes, can he? And I think, like you say, he's not always the crowd's favourite. But
this could change.
You're just like, go on, lad. Come on. Everybody knows you're capable of so much more, and there's more to it than. Well, keyboard warriors love it, don't they?
Yeah.
They just absolutely thrive.
Okay, is it Josh? Who do you want to see when? Wait, Jason O'Halloran. Wait, as a rider. Who do you want to see win the showdown?
Tommy Bridewell. I'd like to see Tommy win it because I know how much it would mean. Oh, I was at Mallory the day that Ollie got killed, and his motorhome was just in front of where our caravan was, and I will never, ever, ever, ever forget that paddock, the feeling, and then seeing Tom get into his motorhome that day. I will never forget it. It was just horrific. It was horrific. And I don't know him personally, you know, I've never had anything to do with him, but I know how hard it is to sort of decide to carry on doing something when you've been that close to something. And I just think he deserves, if he can win that, that's who I'd like to see win it. I think,
good show, mate.
He's that you know, they're a privateer team, aren't they? Mm-hmm. They're getting stuck in. They're an ace team, you know. I'm not.
So there's Bridewell. There's obviously Christian, Josh, Taz, Jason, all within a good shout. It's pretty. I'm just looking at the championship here. So you've got
who's the 8? Got the 8 of them.
So the people that I've just mentioned plus Peter Hickman, Josh Brooks. Sorry, Peter Hickman, Danny Buchanan, and Glenn Irwin. The championship right now, Tara McKenzie's leading it by 2 points over Jason O'Halloran. And then Tommy Bridewell's 9 points off the lead. Christian's 33 points off the lead. Hickman's 43. Josh Brooks 51. Danny Buchan 52, and Glenn Irwin is last in the showdown, 64 points off the lead at the moment. Another talking point at the weekend, in the final race of the weekend, Jason went down, which was massive news. but then Taz was obviously coming through. He was then the new championship leader.
Yeah.
And a very aggressive move on Christian.
Put Christian onto the gravel,
push
didn't it,
Christian
Lodge?
out, yeah. And then two or three laps later, had it coming together with Lee Jackson, which resulted in
Lee Jackson is going so well.
Riding like a boss,
he won it.
Yeah, fair play to
he's
the lad.
absolutely on the rails.
He's doing a trade. He's proud, isn't he? You know, us tradesmen, plumber. Is he a plumber?
Yeah, he is,
Electrician, plumber.
I have
Yeah,
the idea, but the lad's going well.
Yeah, no, fair play.
Do you know what? I think Lee's a very sort of calculated and clever rider, and all year he's done the sort of right thing to be a safe showdown man and like not taking many risks, dead Mr. Consistent.
Yeah.
You know he's going to be there or thereabouts in the race, and he's, all things being fair, he should have been in the showdown.
He should, yeah.
He
Bad
got
luck.
taken out, and then a mechanical the last couple of races beforehand. But
Did you see him get taken out at Alton? Turn 1.
Yeah. Well, I'll put this on and we can talk about it.
Yeah.
But
not by Mackenzie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it was starting to rain, wasn't it?
Jackson
It
was.
just started drying out, hadn't it? Because Taz had been putting his hand up.
Sorry, I must get this in before I forget. Get well soon, Jack Bernigal. How weird was it watching Eurosport without Jack Bernigal's voice?
Yeah.
Keith Ewan, yeah.
Yeah, Keith Ewan. No, Keith did a great job, but it was just
It's
a bit
not,
weird clicking on.
but he's not Jack, is he? He's not Jack.
There's me going, where the hell's Jack? You know, it was.
And Jack
Felt a bit empty for me.
And
I'm a big Jack fan. He's one of my heroes.
Him
He's
and
one of my
James
heroes.
Whittam, I like. Do you remember when
The duo.
Toby, Moody, and Julian Ryder used to do MotoGP?
Yeah.
And then was it Julian Ryder left, didn't he? And it was Toby, Moody, and somebody else. It was never the same. Like Bernicle and Witt, I just think they're ace together, aren't they? They're just mega.
And you do get you get
You
used
get
to
a
like
bit of
your-
banter and
I was just going to say about Lee. I think he plays the sort of long game and very calculated, but now he's not in the showdown. He can sort of
taking his brain out a little bit and saying, "Let's get stuck in now."
Well, exactly,
Yeah.
and you know it's contract time at the end of the year as well, and all the people that aren't sorted for next year, it's like their time to pull the fingers out and try and like impress and try and get a good ride. So yeah, it's good to see him getting stuck in, and he
needs to be in that championship next year. Definitely
100%.
needs to be in there, doesn't he?
Yeah,
and he needs a decent bike under him.
Yeah,
you know,
But I tell you what, I'll get the crash itself on here, and we can sort of go through it. I'll put the hidden one on as well. What was your take from viewing it yourself?
It's a different. I sound like a politician because I'm really non-committal. Because it's a racing incident. I'm a firm believer in politics has no place in motorsport. All this bullshit about in Formula One and in, you know, track limits and stuff. I'm not a fan of it. You know, I just think let's go back to using a bit of common sense. Racing incidents, and it's hard riding. I did think he was maybe just a little bit too much. Mm-hmm. He maybe just, but there's a gap in there, and if you leave a gap, you've got to be prepared to have somebody stuff up the inside. Or if you see a gap, you're going for it, aren't you? Especially in trying to win a championship.
Right, I'll just get it.
But that one with Lee was sort of hard to call on it.
You know what lacks? It's a bit like my brother's going to beat you up. That's what BSB reminds me of. My brother's going to beat you up. Well, I'm like getting in your own fight, getting your own hands dirty. No, like, you know what I mean? It's people got to be so careful and got to be responsible for their own actions.
Yeah.
And it's got to be, someone's got to take that situation out of their own hands. It's a bit like if someone did that to you, you'd be straight up into them and it would just be all that. That's how it got done back in the day. You know what I mean? It was just like, it was intimidation, like within riders. Nothing, it didn't go any further than that, but it was proper. Tell you what, son, sit me up like that. I'm giving you one back. And
without any penalties, there is a natural way of things getting sorted out. And I think it's a little bit like, you know, in the economy, there's a natural way that the economy works. And when governments get involved, it's sometimes they do it from a good, like, with good intentions, but sometimes it like sort of puts off the natural thing and it ends up causing more problems.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think that's a little bit like that with penalties, where obviously the organisers have
got
got
them going again here now.
Responsibility.
Managed to turn bike racing fucking boring again. The fucking maths teacher. As soon as you mentioned economy, my head I just glazed over.
The organisers have got a job to do in terms of the safety for the riders. However, for me the less they get involved in racing incidents, the better.
Absolutely,
so I'm on board with you for that.
I'm only taking the piss.
Let's watch this. So it's coming down. This is going down into turn one. So just
I know, yeah. Flight 212 EasyJet Magaluf coming in.
Just to set it up, so Lee had just passed. Taz passed Lee going into Lodge. So they were battling at this point, and then Taz is back up the inside of Lee and past him going inside into turn 1. He's up the inside of him. So at that point,
he could see him. That was there. He was blatantly there.
And there's a little bit of contact, but at that speed, you basically just have to touch a handlebar and it goes down. For my take on that, I feel deeply sorry for Lee because I can see he's really putting his heart in his sleeve to get a podium, and he deserved a very good result there. Any time in the season he would have went into turn 1 and Taz would have been up the inside, and he would have thought there's a chance that I could muscle it out on the outside, but I'm putting myself in a very vulnerable position here, and he would have yielded the position. He probably looked at that and thought to himself, I'm mates with I get on well with Taz. If I muscle it out on the outside, he'll see us and like leave us room.
Yeah,
it's not. It would have been the nice thing for Taz to do, but it's not his responsibility. And if Taz had sat up and left him room there, Lee would have then had the advantage going into the next corner. So Taz would essentially be letting him through on the outside. And if someone tried to ride around the outside of me at turn 1, I would the mug on your they're basically pulling your pants down if you let someone run around the outside of you. So Taz, it wasn't the nice thing to do, but it was
the racing thing.
To me, there's two things of that. Like mid-turn, Taz would not have known where Lee was
going to then get back on
because he can't see him. He's hanging over this new style where you're all hanging and getting your elbows down.
I think Taz knew he was.
He'll have known he was there, but he wouldn't have known how near or because you can't see him from there, can he?
From Taz's point of view, as soon as they get back on the throttle, he knows he's there, and he's thinking, I'm going to use every inch of the track because you're going to have to yield, and if you're not yielding, you're going down.
Well, my other point I was going to say was when you watch that whole race, Lee's riding hard. He doesn't want to get... There's a few times where he's done that with a few lads in that race where, fair play to him,
it's massive.
The two of them have come out side by side, and you can just see Lee... I'm not moving. I am not going to move.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, sometimes that's the outcome, isn't it? You've got to yield sometimes.
Taron definitely knew, though, didn't he?
Yeah, it's not.
You know what I mean? He went straight over the shoulder for a check, and he was down, wasn't he?
But this is where, like, so say they've given a 3-second penalty for that. To me, if that happens, there's lots of racing incidents like that happen every weekend. Once you give penalties for that sets the precedent, and then you basically got to penalise loads of other things.
But do you think that's maybe because he did what he did to Christian as well? Because my opening line when that happened was, he's fucked. They're going to do something now because he's just put Christian into the gravel in a bit of that was quite hard, and now that's happened. They've then got to act on it, haven't they? If he'd just done that, maybe nothing had come of it.
There is also the thing of the reputations as well. So, for example, if Andy Owen had done that, he would be getting absolutely slated because it's Taz and he's like the smiling assassin. Everyone sort of takes
a little tarot. He didn't mean it.
Takes it with a bit.
Yes, he did.
A pinch of salt.
And he'll murder you in your sleep.
Yeah, but that's why Taz has got a very good chance of winning the championship this year, because he's there to mean business, and he did it. He did exactly the same thing to Jason. I tell you what, Jason's been brutal this year as well.
He has, yeah.
It's amazing. Like, the only reason why he hasn't taken anyone out is because people yield. If people don't yield, if people didn't yield to Jason, he would have wiped loads of people out this year. He's so aggressive. It's great to watch for me.
After 2 offs, imagine what he's going to be like in the next one.
I totally take my.
As soon as you see, as soon as you hear him, you just like, you can have it, mate.
But I've got to say, the racing is so good at the moment.
It's nice. And it's nice to see different manufacturers in there as well. It's not just a manufacturer that's running away. It's not just the 2 Ducatis have disappeared off at the front because it's just.
Who's the most dominant in the wet at the moment in superbikes?
I would fancy Brooksy for a wet race.
Mm.
Well, just the thing is, it's coming to the latter part of the year, isn't it? It's
how many's left? You got Donington.
You've got 3 races at Donington and 3 at Brands.
So, but when you think we're getting to the back end, we're in autumn now, lads. You know what I mean? We're in the fall part of the year, and you just think the weather, I mean, I think the season so far has been phenomenal weather. You know what I mean? We're very lucky with it. But
it pisses down. It just throws cat amongst the pigeons, doesn't it?
It really does. And I'm just thinking, you know, that dominance force comes out to play here. You know what I mean? And it's a bit like if we turn into our British fine weather that we have here on the English coast.
Not looking great for the weekend.
It's looking dog shite.
I'll just make a prediction as well. Going into Alton, if you were going off past form, you'd be predicting Jason to clean up at Alton, and you'd expect Taz to be like, if he was getting podiums, he'd be doing well. He's always about sort of 6th, 7th at Alton.
Right.
He's came out and he won. He won this weekend and got he got a penalty, but he was right up at the sharp end. That's
how do they compare at Donington? I can't remember how they did earlier on in the year.
Both 1-2s at Donington. So
where was Tommy?
Tommy's really strong at Donington, to be fair, as well. And then Brands.
I remember. No, you put the intermediates on. Remember when that was his first? That was his first race win of the year. Was it?
Didn't win, but he was on the podium, I think.
It was an outstanding first time on the intermediates as well. So that lad's going into confidence on a greasy track on half and half. You never know.
They're all really good at Brands. If you remember, the year Scott Redden won, Brooksy won all 3 races there. So it's honestly anything can happen. And it is so exciting. I think I as a sort of fan watching, I'm like really looking forward.
It's good to see. It's good to, and you know what? We have the most competitive domestic championship in the world, don't we? We really do. We're just class.
Vickers had a bit of a nightmare after a few. He's had a few real strong
big
runs
as well, there, didn't he?
Yeah, he was
big crashes.
He was so fast at Cadwell, Donington, Snetterton, but he had a bit of a crashing spree at the weekend. And to be fair to him, he smashed 2 bikes up, 2 massive crashes Friday, and then went and put it on the front row in qualifying. How do you do that? Because after smashing 2 bikes up, you start a qualifying lap, and you think to yourself, to be on the front row in a British Superbike race, you have got to put everything on the line. And after writing 2 bikes off, to then put it on the line,
I'll just leave that there again. We'll just go. Come on.
But you've got to hand it to him for that.
It's phenomenal.
The kid's got.
He's still young as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's very young.
He's got a bit of maturing to do as well. But
a big rumour mill that he's off to Birdies next year, which is if that is true, then it will be interesting. Very interesting. Should we go on to the rumour mill, because there's been quite a few. The rumour mill was that Sykesy was going to be coming back to BSB, but we got it on good authority last year that night
he's staying in Worlds.
That he's staying in Worlds apparently, but we don't know. Chaz Davies is retired from World Superbikes. Will he make an appearance in BSB?
Yeah, I'd seen he retire, which is sort of sad to see, isn't it? Because I think Chaz has still got.
He's still got it,
hasn't he?
Of course, he's still got it.
And it'd be nice to see him back in the British paddock, wouldn't it? It'd be cool.
It'd be cool
awesome, to sort
of see. Other rumour mills, apparently Brooksy's looking like he's going to Fayho. That's like the sort of rumour in the paddock at the moment.
Right.
Which would be lining up against Hickman.
It would be nice to see a few of these guys that have been at the same teams have a bit of a switch around, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Just to kind of keep things fresh again.
Last time Brooks was on a BMW though was the Sean Muir World Superbike.
Yeah, that's right. Taz is rumoured to be going off to World Superbikes to Chaz's team at the moment.
Yeah, the Aruba.
Go 11.
They're
looking to go to Yamaha, like a satellite Yamaha team, and Taz is rumoured to be going there.
Good lad.
So if that sort of leaves a space at McCann's, then
Jason going to stay put.
I would think
I'd
so.
like to see him with Birdie.
And then sort of Christy and Bridewell and all of them. I don't know if there's a bit of a turn.
A Ducati
sort of. When O'Halloran, in my opinion, O'Halloran's definitely a rider that don't fix something that's not broke. You know, he's a loyal lad, and he stuck it out with Honda. He stuck it out. He's very open about that. He stuck it out, and Yamaha.
And they've been good to him.
Yeah, exactly. I think we'll see O'Halloran stay there. I'd be sure. Have you
talked about Scott going to BMW? Scott Redding going to BMW?
Yeah. What do you make of that? What do you make of that?
I don't know.
It's obviously about flashing the cash, isn't it?
Well, I don't know how you say that, but then what I'd heard was that his relationship with Ducati was just to a point where he just didn't want to be there anymore.
From what I've heard on the commentary when they're talking about it, and I tell you who's.
Toseland said quite a bit about it.
Toseland, for me, right, is a commentator. A lot of the commentators are very friendly with the riders.
Yeah.
And therefore, you kind of obviously, like, say if I was commentating and I was commentating on your races, if I had something critical to say about
and
you,
he's still in last place.
yeah, if I had something critical, you would be mindful like that. You're your mate, and you wouldn't.
Yeah,
do you
you
know
don't
what I
want to
mean?
be. Yeah.
Where Tosland just seems to be absolutely honest. Like, if somebody's
All the
underperforming, he just gets and he just says it exactly what you're thinking at home.
Yeah,
and I like that.
He needs to pull his finger out.
I like
Towson
that. Yeah,
says
I like that
it.
about it. But he said, I think it was on the Eurosport podcast about Ducati, and I think he was talking from past experience from himself, and he was saying basically the Ducati have this firm belief that their bike's the best.
Yes.
And if you're not winning on it, it's you, and it's not like they take criticism of the bike very
like
badly.
The Ferrari
and I think
it is
Ferrari
into
motorcycles, aren't they?
And I think the relationship between Scott and Ducati
he's been there a while, and
I
he
see.
obviously in the Grand Prix, and then
he won the British. He's been there a long time, hasn't he?
But as well, do you not think you just get sick of something, and you maybe sit there and think, I need a change, and
a
if
change is better
BMW
than a rest, kind of thing. Was I saying something like that? I don't know.
No, I think it's good. It's good. Again, it keeps it fresh, doesn't it? It's nice to see him in different colours and another challenge, and it'll be a different bike to ride, won't it?
Have we got any other rumour mills for BSB? I think that's. I can't think of anything else.
Is Storm staying with you boys?
I believe so, but I'm not sure about that. But I haven't heard it otherwise.
To be honest, there's not that many, is there? You know, there's just no real side of it. But anyway, let's talk about who's champion and who's doing what. Let's talk about Supersport. Bradley Pirri broke down. That's his championship over. God love him, in it on the Apple
Not
Yard.
over.
Is it not over?
No,
has he still got a chance?
It's definitely not over, but it's
not looking the best.
Yeah,
who's leading it, Jack?
Jack's leading at the moment.
Hold on. There was a time penalty.
Curry.
Well, hold on. Yeah, Ben Curry. Yeah, the safety car lap. So
I haven't seen the Supersport race.
Oh, you have
Quite
to watch it.
controversial.
It's very controversial. Right. So basically, Jack Kennedy, in a safety car lap, you can't cross the ride in front of you without crossing the line first.
Yeah.
So Ben Curry just outrightly said on the the podium, just said, Jack missed a gear. Hold on. Jack missed a gear. Like, I'm not being funny. They were absolutely hossing down the start straight. You know, missing a gear is huge in this sport. You miss a gear, it's 40 mile an hour difference. These two just went, it was just gone.
What,
so
while the safety car...
when the safety car comes back in, and obviously you've got to cross the line in the order, then you can sort yourself out. Well, coming out of the last corner, I think Jack went for a gear and it didn't go straight in, so he had a few goes at it, and that then meant Ben was passing him, and he was, I think. It was probably
Ben's first win as well.
It was probably a mistake from Ben's part, because you wouldn't even go close to going level. He should have made sure he sat behind him.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he actually, when they went over the line, he was slightly in front, so he got a 3-second penalty. And Lee also passed under, when the safety car flag came out, Lee passed him, so he got a penalty for it as well.
Turn 3, just coming down the bottom, so you could see Jack Kennedy actually look for the flag, saw the flag, and then he saw Lee Johnson. But now, to be fair to Lee Johnson, if he saw that flag, Lee Johnson
he's done enough, hasn't he?
No, but you know what I mean, though? He's not thinking, stuff them, I know better. Far from... If Lee Johnson saw that flag, Lee Johnson, we've seen it 100 times again, he would have gone, oh, sorry, son.
Yeah.
Off you go again.
That's what I mean. He's done a bit, and he knows. He doesn't make mistakes like that.
No, he doesn't.
You'd like to think that's an honest.
And then Scott Swan, Northern Irish lad, his first podium, but you know what I mean? This is mint. But Scott Swan, the Swan family, are very really well, highly respected Irish family team, and you think. He wouldn't want to be gifted that third, but don't get me wrong, he has a stupid mullet, but we can shave that off. But bar that, he'll be over the bloody moon, but he wouldn't want to be gifted that.
So you've got to hand it to Jack, because the 636 is definitely not the best bike out there, and he's riding the wheels off that thing. He's clearly the best rider, I would say, out of the top thing. And that's not being disrespectful there, because all of them are top riders, but the fact Jack's winning on not the best bike is incredibly impressive.
Is he staying where he's...
No, I think he'll be going to Superbikes next year.
Right. With?
Who
have you heard he'll go with?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
He was on the RAF team, though, wasn't he?
Yes.
Last year before.
So maybe could be.
You never know. But I tell you what, it's that safety car lap. Unfortunately, James Hind had a crash, and that's what caused that safety car lap. But I tell you what, I didn't know. Unfortunately, he came off. I don't know what the situation was there, but that was the second crash of the weekend. But he's another one. He qualified brilliantly, and he's showing that, if you're getting the right track time, you are progressing. Yeah. He's you don't make omelettes without breaking a few eggs, and he knows that, and he's definitely pushing on. He's definitely someone to watch for the TT coming. That's his focus, that's his drive. But he's got the right people. He's got some seriously good sponsors behind him that are getting him into the BSB, and his family are fully behind him. And he's definitely one to watch on the road side of things. Charlie Nesbitt wrapped up the GP2 championship as well. He absolutely walked that one, which is absolutely awesome. Frank O'Bourne in stock 600.
Oh my man!
Oh, what
I didn't see the race.
Qualifying in the wet. Franco's just a young lad from around here. He hasn't got that much experience. Just on a 600 this year under the guidance of Peter Boast. And
is that Boast? I
have
seen Boast help.
His prodigy, right? And he went out, and I'm watching live time because I was out afterwards, and just P1 plus like a second, and then they're all fighting for second place, and then he just went faster again. And I'm watching him into turn one, and it just led all the session and put it on pole position by over half a second.
Spot on.
But when you think about the other people in that class with the money they've got. They experience everything like that. Frank O'Bourne sat there, looked like he was dealing drugs on the weekend. He just sat there like, Rachel, all right, I knew about that. I've got it. Actually,
definitely massively want to watch.
Without a doubt, he's a proper lad. Like he's definitely going places. And
did Josh Day wrap up the Ducati Champions?
Yes, must have by now. Must have. How did John get on, your man?
I think he was 8th, 7th, 8th. He just texted me saying I rode average.
Good chat, John. Good chat. There you go.
Would you not fancy a bash on the Ducatis?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a run out in that. I wouldn't mind a run out in that super sport class either.
Craig Neve, one of our road racing fraternity there, he got another podium.
Yeah,
Craig
riding well.
He's
riding well.
But he's another one, same on the James Lyons side of things. He's like...
he had a bad injury at the start of this year as well,
God,
Craig.
didn't he?
Spoke to him when he was in hospital, and he broke the top of his arm. He's humorous. And I think his head was sort of a bit in tatters there because he's worked hard over the winter, got some good sponsors there to sort of help him out. He's been, saving money like mad, ready to have a real good do it. And then you go into the year with an injury. It's like,
but the mad thing is, Rollo sat him up massively in Donington Park, ragdolling, and his determination is, he's just digging in.
Meant mad, isn't he?
And
he's a sound lad.
I think the road lads, this 2 years sabbatical, shall we say, if you had the money to be a British, it was definitely the right thing to do. Dean Harrison, he's getting stronger every time he's getting out again.
Dean's riding really well.
He's going mint.
Michael Dunlop was in the points in Superbikes.
He's changing teams like he's changing his bloody boxes at the minute.
He's just gangster, and he just jumps in wherever there's an opportunity. I'll go with them. I'll have a do with them. It does right. It's just this year for us road boys. It's just about getting as much track time as you can and keeping sharp, isn't it?
Of course it is.
But it's good to see as well lads getting stuck into British Championship as well.
My God, if I had the money, I'd buy my own hair gel. Put it this way, and I would be straight in there.
You've done a few BSB rounds this year, haven't you?
I've done one, mate. I did it with the counting lot. Absolutely loved it, but it was like $2,500 gone. It was just both gone.
That's the thing with it. That's why that was why when it came down to the World Endurance thing, for money over track time, you get so much more track time.
Oh no, but
around some amazing tracks for a fraction of the cost.
But at the same time, what I've learned massively over the last couple of years is like you get to a point, you get to a level. We are at a level that I'm not blowing smoke up our ass, but there is track time and then the right track time.
100%.
You know what I mean? It's like fair enough going out and doing laps, and you think this is good. But like when I went to British there, I learned more in that little track time than I did ever going round, you know what I mean, of going to another club and then going, yep. You're like, all right, but we ride with a wallet, son.
Yeah. I was riding around at Boldor following Alexis Masbou. Do you remember him? I followed him for about 4 or 5 laps, and I just thought, this is mad. I used to like play PlayStation as him, and now I'm following the dude. But you just learn. So just sitting behind him, just think, and obviously he'd rolled it off because they were actually going really well. I think they finished 3rd in the stock.
Yeah.
But because he knocked it back a bit, and then I had to sort of work harder to stay with him for those 3 or 4 laps, you just think, fucking hell, I've learnt more there than I could have done in a season of racing doing anything else. Just following lads like that.
That's exactly it. It's like, the thing is, it's like when you get to the roads, when you go to... The thing about roads, Chrissy, you know what I like? This gentleman, we are gentlemen in roads. There is no denying that, when you're passing and stuff like that. There's actually kind of an unwritten rule in TT racing. The guy 10 seconds behind you, he passes you, it's over.
Yeah.
No, it is. You know, you think you let that man, you know what I mean? And then you almost forget about that bloke who's passed you and you go for the next one. But you learn more off the guy who's done the 10 seconds. You know, it's natural momentum. And that's the thing. And like when you go short circuit racing, you're constantly breaking that momentum. You're like, oh, here we go. And getting into that pattern is
sometimes
very hard.
I'd listen to your podcast with Dean, and he said, it's like a load of raging bulls, isn't it? With a red rag at BSB. Turn one's just mental into. You've got no headspace to think or actually try and pick anything up or learn anything because it's a survival. You're just trying to survive, aren't you? Yeah, it's savage. And you know, it makes it amazing as a spectator sport, but as a competitor, fucking hell, you got to get your elbows out and get your fighting gloves on, aren't you? You know, it's as simple as that.
But you learn more like that. I'm not kidding. If I found a sponsor, and he just went, right, Dominic, what do you need to go fast at TD? It really would be.
I need to do a season in BSB.
Yeah, hands down. Absolutely hands down. It would just be, there you go, son. I'd be like, right. And I would turn that good. I'm not saying that because I'm anyone else or nothing.
Because it's just a bunch of axe murderers.
No, I would.
If you could, so if a sponsor comes to you and said you could do any class next year at BSB, at Ducati, stock, super sport, whatever, what would you pick?
Stock, thou.
What would you pick?
Now, you know what? I'd pick stock, but the easy answer would be super sport.
Yeah.
Now, solely because there's less people in it, you're going to get a race and stuff like that. The pressure would be off on that side of things. But
I'd probably enjoy riding the 600. I enjoy riding the 600 more than I do 1,000 because I still ride the big bikes. That's where I go wrong with the big bike. I still ride it like I carry way too much corner speed and I don't use the power of a 1,000 like I should do, really.
But I tell you what, the good thing, like beggars can't be choosers. I do a lot of riding on different bikes. I see track time and I'm like, right, yeah, I want to ride because I want to race bikes, period. Doesn't matter what it is, pit bike, anything. But the biggest thing that these lads do, Chris, he doesn't ride motorcycle, ride anything else but his 1,000. You know what I mean?
He's a real sick bastard.
No, but you know what I mean. But for him, that's our 600. Or Super 20, you know what I mean? We get off and chop and change. I get on a classic, hop this and hop that. I'm a jack of all trades, like not yet a master of one. And he hops on 1,000. If someone said to me, right, Dominic, I'm going to fund you. I'm going to pay, even if they paid just the tyres.
Yeah.
For a season. That's mad. I don't have to tell you, lads. That is huge.
But you do a 600. Would you do 600s over
I would do 1,000.
You do the stock.
I would do. If someone said, I will pay, if someone just paid the tyre bill and if I crash, it's like tough shit, I would figure a way. If someone was willing to go, I'm going to pay you that $2,000. How many rounds is it?
11.
11 rounds. 2 times 11. Go.
22.
22. Imagine saying that. 22 grand. Who's going to give you 22 grand?
22 grand in the scheme of things for the season of super stock, though, is like it doesn't start.
That's what I mean. But you see, me, how do you go and get 22 grand off? Like it blows my mind.
Sell it a minute.
Anyway, we're going to go down anyway. But that's
Quick question for you. So
TT, sorry everyone.
TT's looking like it's going ahead next year. Are you planning on competing?
Yes.
Have you got bikes and teams and everything lined up, or where you at with that?
At the minute, I believe the deal with Team Classic Suzuki is still there. So
good.
Yeah, good. That's obviously a nice thing to kind of know.
That's been a 3-year thing, hasn't it?
The 1,000 sorted.
Yes, that's the 1,000. So I've got my own 600.
Yeah.
Which is the track.
Which is my 675.
Yes.
And then potentially a lightweight, but at this stage, I've
CF motor
with
Mint?
Potentially, but I don't know what those guys' intentions are. You know, that it will be nice. It'd be nice to go into the season with that.
You've already got the levers, so it's there you go. You're laughing on your son.
Do you know, having had that break from road racing and sort of doing world endurance and the short circuits, I presume it's brought you on quite a bit. Do you feel in a better position now going back to the TT than like what you have been in the past?
Yeah, to a certain extent. I would like more bike time on the bike that I'm going to do the TT on.
Sure.
I'd like to go and do that, but like for next year, if somebody said what's your ideal season, it would be a full season in World Endurance, do TT and Macau, and that would be that.
Yeah,
I'd be happy at that. And I'm frustrated that Macau hasn't gone ahead this year because I sorted my entry, so I was going to Macau, so that was ace. So I've wanted, again, this one that I wanted to do for quite a while, and everything was sorted. I spoke to Mervyn White, and we were, I assume we were, I kept getting all those emails that we were sent about, can you commit? And just with quarantines, just no teams were going to commit to it. It was like a month, wasn't it? Or 21 days you had to do in isolation when you got there. So
you touched on it about all the roads lads, all the extra racing they've been doing, and you think how sharp the likes of Lee Johnson, Hickman, Harrison.
Them boys are going to be as quick as they were 3 years ago before it stopped. They're going to go back and they're just going to be straight back into it.
I would say Lee's got to be in a better position. Like, he's definitely sharper in the shorts now than what he was when he was. So you would have thought he's like sort of taking this time to improve his riding.
Yeah. And he's got such. You can just see how he is with that Ashcourt lot. He's just so chilled out into. He's just relaxed. The team are right for him.
They don't scratch the same. You scratch on the TT. You 100% scratch. Like, we are riding it 100%. There is no denying that. But I feel like you can't. To scratch like they're scratching, you could not do that entering.
No, you're not. No,
Kurt Michael. No, but you know what I mean.
Different riding style.
It is
completely different.
To be honest, mate, I'm going to be I'm almost telling myself that. Because I'm not in their position. Like, this is being honest, you know what I mean? I think they're going to ride it different. That is my like psychological edge to go.
But they are going to ride it different.
Yeah,
they know
that.
They're experienced professionals. They're not going to go there and
elbow
be
down,
trying to get their elbow down
yeah.
and leg dangling and all that. And it's just not going to happen, is it? It's programmed into them. The professionals. It's programmed. They know exactly what they're doing. They'll get there and it'll be like they've never been away. All of them. You know,
there is going to be a difference.
Sharp.
Yeah,
sharp.
I cannot wait.
You can't replace that sharpness. Yeah.
It's when it does come round and like the first bikes go off down the hill.
Yeah.
It'll be unreal. Got a few Patreon questions. Quickly read them out and we'll go through them. So Mark Prescott to start off with. First of all, well done, Chrissy, on your P1 and P2 at Alton. You're in top form. Not sure if you have answered this before, but have you or Dom changed your way of looking at your riding careers due to what the guests have talked about in their careers on the podcast? Maybe something worked for them and you have given it a go. Cheers, Mark.
Only since Joe Akroyd. You saw that coming that way. You're like, here comes the answer.
Yeah.
No, I tell you what, you know what I mean? That's such a hard question to answer and round it off quite neatly. But like constantly speaking to different guests and hearing their stories, you know, the borderline the same, but their attitudes, they're so wavering and you can almost pick something that's relative to you.
Be like that's common threads going through,
you know, but the mad thing is like Billy McConnell, you know what I mean? How lacking of self-confidence, but he's a confident man with, you know, that little bit of lack of self-confidence in his ability, but his ability is unbelievable on a motorcycle. But he's like, I can't do it, and he's self-telling, like, you get absorbed into their stories and you think, the power of the pod, kids. The power of the pod. No, it's
nothing jumps out to me, but I'm sure just having conversations, I'm sure there will be little things that like picking up subconsciously all the time. Liam Evans, there seems to have been a tragically high number of young riders being killed or injured this season. Is that just an unfortunate aspect of the sport, or is there enough being done to protect younger riders in smaller classes? Also, future guest idea, Clive Paget. The man has such a passion for the TT and racing in general. We've got Clive lined up, so
we
literally hung out at his shop like a bunch of groupies. So they were like that, going, it's Clive about, he's in a meeting. Oh, we'll wait. We'll wait.
He has agreed to come on, so we'll get that sorted soon. But we did touch about the younger riders earlier, and I think we sort of said our piece then. But we don't really have the answers, in all honesty, do we?
Well, we didn't get to anything, did we? I think
there's a problem.
There is a problem, but you don't know how do you fix it? It's
Mark said, well done to Dom at Spa as well. So spot on. Kathy Jones Parry, question for Joe. From a fellow multi-level spinal fusion person, do you still have the rods, etc., still in your spine? I remember Shaky saying in one of his interviews that he'd have to have his metalwork removed before he started racing again, but having my metalwork removed has never been mentioned as an option for me. If the metalwork is still in, do you find it affects your racing style, position, etc.? My fine balance is shot after having surgery, so I regularly fall off ladders. Have you still got your metalwork in?
Yeah, it's all still in.
Can you get it removed?
And that's, do you know what? This has been quite a big thing. I've actually been trying to get back onto my surgeon to get it removed.
Right.
Because I'm having massive problems at the minute with nerves. There's nerve damage anyway that runs down my left side and down into my left leg. And I've permanently...
Is that a pain sensation or a twitching sensation?
No, it's pain. Like? It basically just feels like a jellyfish sting the whole way from like
Jesus.
where your kidneys are to the...
Is that on and off, or was that
no,
constant?
It's permanent. As soon as you touch it, my little ass can run up and just
floor you.
She can just put a hand on it, and it's like, oh my God, it's not a nice feeling.
Whereabouts is it again?
But I know that my surgeon originally was not particularly helpful in making the decision on whether I should or I shouldn't have it. I made the decision to have it after speaking to a couple of people, because I wanted to get back on and do what I needed to do. I just wanted to get back to normality, and I know that your back is stronger with it in. But I know that they're reluctant to take it out when you get past a certain age because the issues of going back in and your body trying to heal again. So from my point of view, they said, look, you're young enough that we think, you'll probably bounce back from this. It's better we can get the movement back in your spine. I've got 6 that are fused together now. So that's,
that's through
5 that are fused together. Yeah, that are all, and they're just completely rigid. So from the center of my back down to L3, they're all solid. So that's like...
And without sounding like a total idiot here, removing them just totally frees that off.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to have to be some work, and
yeah.
the 2 vertebrae that have been badly broken, what the complications will be for movement because of the shape of them. They haven't healed like a normal vertebrae; they've healed like a wedge. So I don't know what the issues are going to be with that, but I'm in pain all the time. At Baldor, I was in horrendous pain. At Spa, we did a 6-hour European round, and during the race was okay, but the drive home, fucking hell.
That's a long home.
And this sounds really like heavy to say this, but if I had to go through my whole life feeling like I do now, I wouldn't do it. I know that sounds a bit dramatic, and I don't mean it in that way, but there are days when honestly, I'm over it. It's normal, but there's days when it's that affects that much that you just think, do you know what? I'm 32. If I was 65, 66, and I'd had this for the last 30 years of my life, I'm out. I'm done. I'll do everything I need to do, sort my affairs out, and call it a day because it's horrific. So I need to find a resolution. So in answer to the question, yes, it does affect your riding. Yes, it affects your mindset. Do you try and manage it as best you can? Yes, absolutely. Am I doing the best I can with it? Yes. Am I coping all right? Yeah, I am. But do I need to? You need to be proactive in trying to find a solution. And for me, I do feel that what is causing me problems at the minute is the metal work. So I want it out.
What are your goals, mate?
Say again, mate.
Like, the thing is, I was having a chat with Sean Anderson over in Spa there, right? And the money we put in, the pain, the hassle, everything. People like us, all of us, even people listening who are dedicated to motorsport, have a goal, have an ambition and a drive. What the hell is yours?
I don't know, because I keep putting my helmet on and keep doing it, don't I?
That's what I mean.
I don't know.
I'm not having a go at you. I admire it because
I love it. I love it. I don't know anything else. I love it. I just want to keep riding my bike. I don't.
But then you see what I mean.
I can't. And there have been times, and even in this last 12 months, where I've thought,
you're done.
Do I want to do this anymore? But I don't know what to do. And I don't know that I want to find something else to do yet. I still feel like I want a decent run. I want a decent run at the TT on a half decent bike where I don't have to go and be on my hands and knees and up to me bollocks in stuff 10 minutes before the start of a race. I'd like to go and do a full season of World Endurance and ride Suzuka 8 Hour. I want to finish a 24-hour race. I want to put myself through all of that. So until I've done that, I don't feel like I've ticked the box.
You just told me your goals, mate.
So that's where I'm at.
Because this is the thing. This is what I love about the mentality of a rider. It's the fact that literally less than 5 minutes ago, you were talking about, I wish I didn't do this. Look how I'm feeling.
Yeah, and
now the smile on your face there when you just went,
that's what I want to do.
this.
So, yeah. But injuries are a fucking funny old job, aren't they? And
my dad is getting his pin out of his leg tomorrow.
Really?
He's in surgery tomorrow to race a bike at 63.
Good lad. Good lad.
You know what I
Fair
mean?
play. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That is him through and through. And you know what?
And if you said to your old fellow, Dad, what's your goals? Well, get back on the bike. Get this pin out and get back on the bike.
That you know what I mean? His leg was obliterated. He was going to lose his leg and everything. And he's going, I'm getting the pin out. I'm getting the pin out. And you're talking about age and heel and shit like that. He is that, knows what he wants.
Yeah.
And that's racing bikes.
Yeah.
And when I asked you that question, I saw my dad there, and your eyes, no, you know what I mean? Your eyes went,
yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
I want to race my fucking bike. And
yeah.
That's what it's about. You know that question that you had on the Patreon there, you know, about like affecting guests, and this is what it's about.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm hoping the next time I speak to you guys, I'll have a bit of direction for getting, for whatever this is going to be. But, I spoke with Aidan from ITRM a lot about at the start of all of this, start of the year, it's actually 12 months. It was a year to the day when I was at Baldor, a year to the day since I broke my back. And I thought, I did just go and have 5 minutes, and I thought, fair play, you're doing all right. You're here at a world endurance round. You've qualified fairly well, to be honest with you, and you're going to just be undertaking a 24-hour race 12 months after having your back chopped open and a load more scrap metal put in there. So, but I know that I think personally for me, I need to get that metalwork out. I know Connor's still got all his in. And I said to him, what are you going to do? And he said, I'm going to leave it in because your back's stronger with the metalwork in. But that's ultimately how I've broken my back the second time, is because the metalwork was in above it, so there was nowhere for any energy to dissipate. It's got to a rigid point and it's blown the vertebrae to bits. So, yeah, if I can get that metalwork out and see where we're at going into next year. I did say to them, if you're taking it out, you'll have to do it at the end of the season. They're like, oh, what the fuck? You're getting back on the bike? I'm like, well...
Duh.
Yeah, next.
Another question, Daniel O'Brien. Awesome job at all, and Chrissy. I was screaming at the TV. Right, question to you all. World Superbike Rev Gate. Ray and Kawasaki fans claim the ZX10 is being held back by the 500 revs caps. Two things. One, the Yamaha is the slowest in speed traps at World Superbikes and also has a rev cap in place. Two, Ray has stated publicly he is struggling with front end push under braking and turning. 500 revs won't fix the brake, so it's just smoke and mirrors. Is it just smoke and mirrors? And if the Kawasaki gets 500 revs back, shouldn't the Yamaha also get the revs back? World Superbikes has been the best it's been for years this season, and to my uneducated eyes, the Yamaha and Kawasaki look very equal over the whole lap. 9 wins and 8 poles for Ray versus 10 wins and 1 pole for Toprak. I have no favour to either rider, I just enjoy the racing, but to me, Ray's just getting being beaten by a better rider in 2021. I don't know enough about all the rev caps.
No, I don't.
To me, when I'm watching the racing, especially where was I watching? Barcelona, Ray's bike looked slow.
Yes.
Very much in compared to the Ducatis. But
and at Magnicor, that Kawasaki looked like the front end just wanted to disappear on him the whole time.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he had quite a few moments on it where it washed and then came back, and then he washed it and then it came back. He kept having to save the front. Like you say, it's such a hard... It's a good question, but it's hard to kind of diagnose when you're not in that world.
I think Scott Smart's the best person that we could speak to on that, because he's the guy that decides whether I think he's still in control of technical regulations, so to even out the classes. And it's the same thing in the super sport class where they've got all the different manufacturers, different CCs, and then he decides the revs to make sure that it's the parity amongst manufacturers. Now you're always going to get people who are moan, because there's always going to be like if they just step back and just said every manufacturer do the very best you possibly can type of thing and sort of get out of it. Whenever you're in control, and I think there was a big controversial thing to do with right at the beginning of this year, Kawasaki homologated a new bike, went the first test, and on the Thursday before the first round they got told that they're actually getting 500 revs, so that all of the planning they'd done was with like a different engine. So there's lots of sort of politics behind the scenes. From a fan's point of view, you just want to see good, close, fair racing.
Which you've got.
This year's definitely the hardest championship for Jonathan. Biggest challenge that he's got. Toprak is an amazing rider and looks very good on the Yamaha. You're always going to get people who have opinions on the rules. Are the rules absolutely spot on at the moment? Depends who you ask. Yeah, depends who you ask, I think. But really good question, though, or the same. And the final of the worded questions on Patreon, Mark Reynolds, with the likes of the TT and other road races being cancelled for the past couple of years, and a lot of road lads switch to short circuit racing, keep them sharp. Do you think that some of them might find it hard adapting back to road racing and its intrinsic dangers? Could the relatively safe and sanitised nature of the short circuit racing give the UCK moments on the roads when trees, lamppost, hedges, etc. are millimetres away from you again? Can you see any of the roads lads moving away from the roads and concentrating solely on the short circuits in the future?
No,
I can't see any of it, boys.
Everyone's waiting for it. Everyone's waiting for it.
They're all doing it for the reason to get back onto the roads.
Tell you what would be interesting. Yeah. Do you think it'll have the reverse thing where people...
Sorry,
do you think anyone will actually want to, like, who haven't done road racing before, might have sort of take this opportunity to this sort of fresh start? And do you think it'll like attract more?
What, back to the roads?
Like current, yeah,
new
like
people
new
into
recruits,
the roads.
yeah.
I don't think it'll make a difference. I think
I wouldn't be surprised because we've missed a few years. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a few people that have quite fancied, like, say, doing the Northwest for a few years, and because it hasn't been on a few years and things. We'll see.
Yeah,
we might see.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think to be honest with you, I think it will go back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
I think the grids will be the same grids. Hickey's still going to go and do his thing on the TT. Definitely. And Dean, and that, like you say, they're all just waiting.
Of course they are.
Everyone's just sat there ready to, it's
go
means
for it.
to end doing the short circuit stuff. I don't think you'll see a massive change. I don't. But
no.
Mm-hmm. We've also just started a new thing on our Patreon page where patrons can ask questions themselves, like voice notes or videos. So this is the first time it's happened on the podcast. So we'll see how this one goes. So we've got this one
Brace
from
yourself, Joe.
from George Downs.
Who's the question to?
And it's
you boys.
Well, I posted it like the three of us were going to be on, so we'll see what it's like. So this is George.
Chrissy, congratulations for your win and second place at the weekend, back where you belong, that top step. Dom, congratulations on that podium at Spa. I bet that's well up there with what you've achieved so far, which is a decent amount. The question for you is, do you think there should be a reduced grid size at World Supersport 300? Because some of them can't qualify within 110% time, I think. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. That's my question for you. And can I also say a quick happy birthday to my little brother, Sam, who's 24 on the 3rd of October. Cheers.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Sam.
And thanks very much, George, for the question.
Cheers, George.
We'll kind of answered about. We were talking earlier about the whole if there's anything the organisers can do, and obviously that 110% rule to make sure that the like everyone's going relatively the same speeds, because there is a big danger when there's disparity amongst the fastest and the slowest. There's fast closing speed.
Yeah.
So that's maybe something that could be looked at, or maybe reduced to like 105% to make sure that like World Championship racing, there's only the best riders in the world that are there type of thing. Would that make it a bit safer?
They're trying to get the entries in, it's a difficult one.
And the thing is that, like in that Supersport 300 race, you've got 15 guys, girls as well, all in a train, and then a gap, and then another 15 all in a train. So you tighten up the qualifying, it's still not achieving anything because they're all that quick. I mean, I don't know if the guys or girls at the back are within that 110%. I'm not sure what the percentage is.
Good question.
For us in World Endurance, it was 107%.
Right.
So it's quite tight. So at Estoril, the last man had to be within 7 seconds of the first man, of the fastest man on track. Right. Which is tight when you consider that they're on a superbike and you're on a stocker. They're running zeros and you're running twos.
They're the best riders, like some of the best riders in the world.
So MotoGP quality riders, exactly.
So whether that's I don't know what the qualifying time is, but they're full grids, aren't they? That's the issue. It's maybe not so much the qualifying time as it is the amount of riders that are ending up in those freight trains. Mm-hmm. But again, that's why racing's racing and it's not riding.
Yeah, exactly. Big difference in that.
And before we wrap things up, have you got much in terms of work? I know last time you were on, you were just talking about different like Triumph events and stuff. Have you got anything else?
Yeah, there's not really been anything from Triumph since April last year. I haven't really done anything with Triumph, so I'm moving dirt and landscaping with my mate Pete, which is grand. It's right enough. I do a little bit with an electric scooter company. They're setting up a world championship called ESC, which is, it's in the early stages at the minute, but that's coming, and I've got a bit of an involvement there, so I enjoy doing that. It's a bit something different to get stuck into. I actually did a week for Norton at Bruntingthorpe, which was literally just a week's testing for them, which was all right, but I haven't done anything else for them. So yeah, and that's basically wrapped up the season with. Unfortunately, the crash that happened at Baldor, the bike, and there's just not the time for the last round. There's another round next weekend at Most in the Czech Republic, but
won't be able to make it.
We're just not going to be able. The team just can't get everything back together in time. The damage is too much, which we're spewing about really, because it'd have been nice to finish the season. We'd have probably just gone with 2 riders. It's a 6-hour race, but
if anyone's got a good spare Jux 1000,
yeah.
When's this one going out?
It'll be too late.
No, I don't think it's never too late. If a Jix 1000 comes through the post, you'll be thanking us here, chasing the racing.
And I've seen on Instagram that you've joined the Woodcourt events team.
Yes, yeah. So that's looking forward to getting stuck with those guys. So they're good events. They will be good events. They'll be outstanding events, to be honest with you. Gareth Bright, who's one of the co-directors, along with Dan. Gareth runs all those Triumph press rides, which is the just outstanding roads, brilliant bikes. It's just a lovely structured, event that he puts together. He's now gone on his own, to basically allow the public to do those events, which they're just, everything's just put together, top class, great lads. He's got an amazing portfolio of riders that are going to be doing that with him. Him and Dan, sorry. So yeah, that'll be cool when they get up and going and running Woodcourt events. They'll be ace.
What's the first event?
Scarborough.
Scunthorpe to Scarborough.
I'm not sure at the minute. There's one to Marbella, I think.
I've seen on the website there's Black Forest in Germany. There's Marbella, a few in Spain.
They're not running round Scarborough. That's the top and bottom of it. There's some amazing places, and I think the whole purpose of the events is that they take all the stress out of it. They come and pick your bike up, they pick you up, you just track, like an absolute rock star. The accommodation, the hotels we stay in with Triumph, you just fucking ace. Ace, yeah. You could never afford to go there yourself.
Before we started the podcast, you brought a few presents and something to give away to
there's a couple of t-shirts.
Grab them and we'll stick them on the camera so you can see them.
Dom's modelling them.
That is not coming off.
I tell you what, that's a cool logo.
That's the dog. That's me dog.
That is an outstanding pup. This is going to get obliterated at work. You know that, don't you? It's going to get covered in sawdust. Dead.
I've got plenty of hats and some t-shirts. So if people for any reason want a hat or a t-shirt, and get in touch.
Give the lad a like. Give a lad a like.
Chuck a few quid in, and it all goes back into the race and done it.
It's literally going to cost you a Jux 1000 for the air next week. That's what it's going to cost. But there you go.
We'll do comment on the YouTube, and then I'll pick one at random.
No, you can pick one. I tell you what. No, Joe gets to pick one, and you let us.
Yeah, pick a comment. So then that'll incentivize people to say what a nice.
He's
lad
a prick. Don't get him on for the 4th time. Do you know what? For that, I'll send you a hat and a t-shirt.
Someone's going to write that,
Can we get a comment on the YouTube, and then we'll get that sorted. But just before we go, I got this lovely message. There's a lad that came to see us at Oulton Park, chasing the racing hat, chasing the racing, all the gear, and a lovely young lad, and he kept coming to see us over the weekend, and his dad actually sent us a message and said, I'm really happy that my son Max travelled 1,200 miles this weekend to support Chrissy, and was told me I told him he was my good luck charm. He's over the moon with your results and said made it all worth it. He's a patron on the page and spent all weekend wearing the Chasing Racing bobble hat. Hope you get a chance to name him on the pod. Max Mayers, he's called, and he came all the way from the Isle of Lewis in the Outer Hebrides, and he came down on. He did tell us the bike, but it was like quite a small bike, so 1,200-mile round trip to come home. So big shout out, and
you'd be thinking, how do I get the Jonathan? The pressure's on.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll be if
he turns up, he'd be like that kidnap, like, right, son, how much?
I'll cover his
just
fuel.
employ him.
That's it.
But yeah, like this weekend, obviously we've got Donington GP coming up. Really excited for all of when this podcast goes out, it'll be just like after the weekend,
right?
And then we're into the last weekend of BSB, the fortnight after Brands Hatch. The season's absolutely flown over. But yeah, and in terms of what's coming up, World Superbikes MotoGP, I'm a bit out of touch. To be honest.
I don't know myself really. What's
if you're interested, just Google it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
keep checking Eurosport every weekend. There'll be something on.
And
so I'm at Croft this weekend, CRMC. I've already wrapped up 2 championships, aiming for the 3rd.
What's the 3rd one that you're at?
The 500 one. So I'm in 2nd by 12 points, something like that. So that'll be good. And then I've got Meti off to Belgium again.
Are you doing that?
Yeah, doing that, which will be a right giggle.
What's that on?
Supermoto, riding for TM. 300 2-stroke, so that should be a right, should hit the fan job. So
that'll be
it will be a good crack.
Weather might be shit, but it'll be all right.
It'll be man. North East lads, man. It'll be alright.
Are you getting any practice in on it before you go?
No, balls deep, young.
Really?
It's the only way to be.
Have you ever done Supermoto?
Ridden a pit bike.
So not a
no.
Supermoto.
The answer's no.
It's a miniature Supermoto. What are you on about?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Do not knock my confidence, lads. I am brimming right now. I am all over it. Don't you dare ruin it.
Is it half dirt, half like do you do jumps?
No, it's a road circuit. It's a road circuit.
Oh, really?
All tarmac.
I think it's not knee down. It's like foot down.
No,
I'm elbowing it with me feet.
It's a road race track.
It's a road race, mate.
Yeah. Also, just knee down. It's just when you see Supermotos, they usually like plant.
No. I tell you what, if you watch Supermoto now, they're actually more knee style now.
Really?
They really are, but they're actually like counter steering it in. It's fantastic to watch. So they're adapting it. They really have strongly adapted Supermoto. So they put the leg out for the dirt section.
Davey Todd had gone around Aberdare Park on one. Was it Aberdare?
What a weekend that was.
He'll just be doing
Davey.
that, but in Belgium on a 2-stroke 300. Living dream, yipping it up.
Oh no, not when I let go of the brake into the first turn. It's he's in for a shock. He really is. You know what I mean? He's fully getting it. Full on strip, full on portion. Bang. I'm down. but no. So bar that. Before I go, I've got to quickly say thank you so much to Ian Martin, for Team Bike for getting me around Spa, and the Sinclair family. You're all amazing, and everyone's going to put an inside joke now and then. But we had I've got to tell you, we had this little fat Frenchman. We called him the coach. He just turned up and goes, I'll show you the lines of round Spa. I'm like, yeah, spot on. Yeah, cheers, man. And so went round, and he's going round and like, I must be a good teacher. You're going much faster. And he goes, what are you doing into La Rouge? And I just went, I'm gonna suss this guy out, see what the job is. Yeah, so I'm coming up there, knocking out 2, loading up the front, tipping in. He goes, yeah, very good, very good. He goes to the guy in the next garage over around the corner. I stick my head around the corner. He goes, what you want to do is go knock 2, load up the front and tip in. I'm going, the coach is getting coached here. I'm like, this is, I'm like, bloody little French. Oh, min crack. But honestly, thank you yet again so much to the Sinclair family and Ian Martin and Team Bike and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, mate, can't wait to do it next year. If they'll have it. They probably won't let me after that little comment, but hey, one of those.
Before we shoot, have you got any plugs or anything, like any special shout outs or anything that you want to give out to like anyone in particular?
Just thanks to all my sponsors that have been involved this year. We can't go and do racing without them, can we? Robbie, I think I've spoke about Robbie before. He came to Bordeaux. I mean, Robbie's been absolute rock for me, getting back on the bike and racing. So big thanks to Robbie. I hate this bit because you just miss people out, don't you? So, but yeah, all my personal sponsors, you all know, yeah.
Have you noticed you straightened out that Spitfire speed
shop? I was going to say, Spitfire speed shop, boys.
Any plugs?
If anybody's still listening at this stage and haven't turned it off because they're sick of me spaffing on, check out the Spitfire Speed Shop website and you can use
a few lady listeners. Tom Hardy's involved in it, so
is it it's literally band?
Yeah, they build a few custom bikes and they're just a cool brand.
That's cool.
But
literally 2 poster boys, Tom Hardy and Joe Akroyd.
That's
all it is.
They've got all tattooed, good-looking bastards, haven't they? You know, they don't use me. But they've been with me for a few years, and cool guys. There's a discount code which is Joe Joe Racing 10, and if you use that, you get a 10% discount.
Joe Racing 10.
Just
and
Joe
Can I have 15 for reminding of the Spitfire plug there?
Spitfire Speed Shop.
SpitfireSpeedShop.co.uk.
Yeah,
yes.
or .com.
Or .com. One of the two.
Check it out. They've got some cool stuff on
But
there.
if you put Tom Hardy in front of that, I think it's 20% or something like that. So.
I tell you what, I was watching one of those CBBS nighttime bedtime stories thing, and he was wearing a Spitfire Speed Shop t-shirt, reading the bedtime story. I'm like, bosh, look at that.
On that message, have you ever seen Grace's amazing?
Yes, yeah.
Grace Webb.
Yes.
So Grace's brother Asa I used to race with.
Right.
She's now got her own show on CB.
She has, yeah.
She goes to like Anglesey and like rides loads of different bikes, and like it's like promoting sort of females getting into like motorsport and stuff. It's a brilliant show.
That's spot on. Yeah. I've watched all of that shit.
Get it on for the kids.
I tell you just sit there and just give up. It's Sophia the First and bloody Peppa Pig at the minute. I tell you, it's just horrendous.
Well, thanks so much for. I know it's quite a trek for you, and it's so on.
No, it's all right. I'm sorry for all your listeners that have got to listen to me again.
We'll always get.
Don't worry, you're coming back again. Yeah, I mean, super sub.
We'll wait for a couple of years, eh? Yeah. No, thanks for having me, and I'm glad we're sort of coming through the other side of all this shit that's gone on for the last couple of years. Yeah. It's sort of getting back to normality.
He would make a politician. Look how smooth this is.
No, it's nice to go back to a bit of normality, and just seeing racetracks full of people and spectators, and we did a pit walk at Bordeaux, and you get the table out and the posters, and everyone's there, and you're signing away stuff, and it's just nice to have a bit of human interaction again. So it's just ace, it is to stuff going back to how they should be.
Mm-hmm.
So
do you know the amount of people that on like pit walks and bumping into people, the amount of people that have called us over the last few weekends and said, I found lockdown really difficult, but your podcast, like a weekly thing to like, it's really like kept us going type of thing. And you don't realise like how many people.
No, you two want to pat yourselves on the back. You're a couple of liquors. You've done all right for yourselves there. You've done a grand job with it. To be fair, to you.
One's a sicko. He's for another reason.
No, you don't. You want to pat yourselves on the back. It's what's this? 123. So fair play to you. Like you say, it's good. It kind of brings people together, doesn't it? Everybody's got the common interest, and you're working hard and you're getting decent folk on. Other than me,
I do it for the free hats.
No, fair play to you.
Spot on. Well, thanks ever so much. Big thanks to our sponsor Colchester Kawasaki, and a massive thank you to all of our patrons. Like I say, we've just updated the tier system so people can actually do video messages, which I think will be pretty cool. We'll get some good messages. And we've got a few bits and
have you told everybody that it's Scott Mills that does the Start E show? Have you made that public?
I don't think we've ever actually mentioned that on the podcast.
No, we have.
Scott Mills.
Yeah, but let's remind everyone.
Because I said to him, I'm glad you got rid of the last fella that said chasing the racing.
I miss him.
That's the sponsor.
No offence.
They are.
And then I said, it sounds like Scott Mills that you've got doing it. And he says, yeah, Scott Mills. I said, bloody hell.
It is good, isn't it?
Fair play, it's cool.
But seriously, I don't think we mentioned them enough. The patrons, seriously, if it wasn't for the patrons, this just would not be happening. Obviously, Colchester have been us for a long time, since the Intercontango training days. You know what I mean? Ever since, Colchester, massive part of it. But without the patrons, you know what I mean? And to go forward with it, the more people that get involved, the better. And, it's exclusive content, you know what I mean? Chrissy set up an OnlyFans, which is brilliant. So all them other listeners that want to get involved in that's brilliant.
What are you shaking your head for?
That's not my cup of tea. Like, I don't think anybody would pay to say anything.
They don't need to pay. They don't need to pay, Chrissy. Stories you're telling half the time, you don't need to pay.
And on that note, I'll catch us in a bit.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, lad.
Click, buy, deliver with remote purchasing from the two-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester Kawasaki. Proud sponsors of Chasing the Racing.